Right. Listen, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. I'm probably not gonna. I didn't come to be nice. I didn't come to be nice. Y'all go ahead and tap the screen. Y'all go ahead and tap the screen. Get the likes up. Tap the screen. How you doing, YouTube? Um, yeah, I don't think I'm going to. I'm not gonna be nice. I'm gonna say it how it is. That um, mm, uh, gang members with badges, they love taking the lives of innocent black folks. It turns them on, and you can clearly see that the woman did nothing wrong. It's already been, proven that she didn't throw any hot water. She never did that. But that's white America. That they'll do some very heinous stuff and then act like it was the black woman's fault. That's what they do. That's what they do because, again, you're dealing with a lineage of evil. Y'all go ahead and tap the screen, get the likes up, because we finna talk about it. You know what's crazy to me? They released y'all tap the screen for me. Tap the screen, get the likes up. What's crazy to me is that they actually released additional footage of this demon, right? This demon Caucasian man that actually he called her a bitch. He said this bitch is crazy. Can you imagine that? This man just took a black woman, an innocent black woman's life, and then says this bitch is crazy. Wow. And then to me it sounded like they laughed a little bit when they got her in the face. Y'all tap the screen for me because I know they're gonna get mad. I know these evil people are gonna get mad because I'm calling it how it is. Majority of cops are bad. Majority of cops are bad. I believe that they rejoice when they unalive a person unjustifiably, especially a person of color. I think it really turns them on, right? The dude said I was going to effing shoot you in your face. Y'all tap F1 for me because I'm not supposed to say that word on TikTok. Apparently, you can't be real on TikTok. I really do that they get turned on by taking a black person's life. I really do believe that. And oftentimes, too many times, we see this happen. And majority of white America is quiet. But then, you know what's funny? When they see stuff like this, when white America sees stuff like this, they be like, oh, we need to stop spreading hate. Well, stop unaliving us unjustifiably. You took on the badge to serve and protect. First of all, he told her to go turn off the burner. He told her to go turn off or check on the hot water. I'm sorry. And then she lose her life. All because she said, in Jesus' name, I rebuke you. Never once did she throw the water. Never once did she pick. They're 15 feet away. I'm sorry. Let me tell you something. These are two huger Caucasian men against a skinny, scrawny, older black woman. And you're telling me that you were in that much fear of a black woman, fam? When you're 15 feet away? Even if she had tried to throw the hot water at them, right? Which, again, didn't happen. But let's say she tried. You get a burn and she loses her life. That's crazy to me. And that is why I say majority white America is racist. Because you can point out these things and they'll be like, no, she should have did this. She should have did that. So I'm sick and tired of seeing stories like this. And they're quiet. They're very quiet because they actually love to see stuff like this. They love to see when a black person gets taken out by them, because that's what majority of them want to do. Understand, you as a black person wasn't even supposed to be free in this country anyway, in their eyes. In their eyes, fam. And I find this funny that, even though she doesn't claim her blackness like that, this happens right around the time of Kamala Harris gets running for president. Here we go with a war on black women. I can't see it any other way. I think there's going to be a war there's going to be more stories like this. Definitely. I'm just tired. I'm tired. And I really wish that the majority, if they care so much for black folks, then speak out. Now, granted, he's gone to jail. He's been locked up, right? How long is it going to take him to get prosecuted? What are they going to try to spin it as? Because we've seen this before. Do you understand? Derek Chauvin was supposed to get off. Do you understand that? They wanted Derek Chauvin to get off. Forget George Floyd's past. In that moment, I don't care about his past. What did he do in that moment? Because they love to bring up a black person's past. They're going to try to do that with this woman. They're going to try to do that with this one. Well, she was suffering from mental illness. She was out of her mind. She has a history of, I don't know, freaking drug addiction. They're going to try to find something to frame this woman to be like, oh, to basically say she should have got yeeted the way she did. They're going to try to, I promise you, they're going to try to spin. They're going to try to spin it. Watch. They're going to try to find some way to say that she was in the wrong, because they always do. That's their motive, to frame the black person as wrong every single time, no matter what. No matter what, the black person is wrong because they're black. No matter what. And we're going to see this get played out. These people are so evil that they see it with their eyes, right? They have body cam footage. They see everything. Y'all tap the screen for me. They see it now. They see the blatant hatred for black people, and they still be like, nuh-uh. Do you understand that that's crazy? That they can see the stuff that we be calling out, and they'll still say, well, she should have never turned off the water. Well, she should have never did that. Well, did she have to be a little bit rude? Well, she's black. That's what they ought to start saying. That's what I really wish racist America would come out and say it. Hey, they're black. We don't care about black folks. I just wish they would say it. Don't try to spin it. Don't try to, hey, she's black. We don't care. We don't care. She's a black woman. She was out of her mind. We don't care. That's what it is. Because she never threw that. Do you understand? I had to rewatch the video 5 times. 5 times I psychologically damaged myself, because I watched it 5 times to see if there was anything that would justify the pew-pewing before I make a video on YouTube, before I go live on YouTube, before I go live on TikTok. I watched 5 times to see if I could find anything that would justify the cop for what he did. And there was nothing. They tried to lie already by saying that the cop tried to lie in 4K and say that the water had splashed by his foot. That she was trying to throw the water. She covered her face up with the pot. And the helmets got thrown up in the air. Oh, it wasn't even the water. He pew-pewed her in her face 3 times, fam. Do we understand that, bro? 3 times. These people have a lineage of evil, fam. of evil, fam. Listen to the words that I'm saying. A lineage of evil, bro. A lineage of evil. And I don't understand how people can look at that. And you know what's worse? You know what's worse than those evil different colored people, right? Is the black white supremacist. That's what's worse. Oh, I can't even say that on TikTok. Y'all F1 for me. I forgot you can't say that. So please press F1 for me, because otherwise they'll shut us down. What's worse than that is the coons that will try to, especially the coon cops, the black cops. Well, she should have complied. She did comply. She complied every single way. How else was she supposed to comply? Well, she should have just put the water down. She was pouring it in the sink. The cop told her to go check the water, so she was pouring it in the sink. You know what happened? You know what happened? As a Christian, let me tell you what happened. That demon manifested. That's what happened. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, but he started morphing and freaking turning into a goddamn legion. You remember Legion in the Bible, the man who had 1,000 demons in him, right? That's what happened. Legion started coming out. You better not. You better not. All right? You better not. I'll freaking pew you in your face. All right? And he did exactly that because they're demons, fam. They are demons, fam. Not all of them, but him and a lot of them that's in the department are demons, fam. Okay? That's what happened. Do you understand? I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Pop, 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 pop. A demon manifested. You saw it in 4K. Black woman gone. Black woman gone. And this is why YouTube, I don't care if y'all clip this. This is why I don't like you black manosphere dudes or you manosphere dudes anyway, because y'all never even talk about homicide. I'm sorry, femicide. Y'all never talk about femicide, fam. Y'all act like it's just like if it's a black woman, y'all never talk about her getting raped or something, right? Y'all never talk about a woman losing her life. You never talk about it. But one thing y'all do is talk about single mothers. Y'all won't cover this though. Well, this is an evil pew pew showing. But just anything with black women and what they have to go through, y'all run away from because y'all cowards. But anyway, back to the point. This is a black woman, so I view this woman as part of the community because she's black. And here we go. And right around the time Kamala Harris has been running for president, right? This is what we have to deal with. Yeah, that's what. Yep. The black woman is finna be under and when I say the black woman, I mean all of them in this context. They're finna be targeted. Because why do this? Actually, we don't even have to go that deep. Let me back it up. With the history that black folks have shown, y'all, even though y'all have done it, with the history that we have shown that there's evil and crookedness in the department and how they have been used to frame majority black people as degenerates and just these evil people, right? At a time like this, with the history, why would a dumb white man pew a black woman in her face and then tell her that I'm going to do it? That was premeditated. Because he said I was going to do it. He said, I'm going to effing boop boop you in your face. And he lived up to that promise. At a time like this, Kamala Harris running for president, the history that we have seen throughout the last few years with black people being unjustifiably taken out by the pigs, at a time like this, he do this. And then y'all wonder why cops get no respect. You wonder why black folks don't really like the or I ain't gonna even speak for behalf of majority black folks because I don't know. But a lot of black folks don't like the cops. We're talking about fam. I don't even care if she threw hot water. We're talking about hot water. You got y'all, they got straps, fam. They are two Caucasian men that can overpower this one. They got straps, fam. Got straps, fam. And y'all that scared of hot water? Get out of here, bro. This is America, though. This is America. Y'all tap the screen for me, please, because we gonna have some. I'm going to. I'm not gonna hold my tongue much. I'm sick and tired of this. We talking about water. We talking about water, fam. You that scared of water? Maybe they were scared of the water because they don't bathe. Maybe that's why. Maybe they were scared of freaking hot water because they don't bathe. I don't know what come on now. And then do you know how hard? Do you know how much it takes to throw a pot of water? How far it even would go? They 15 feet away. 15 feet away. She would have to, bro. She can't just do it like this. She would have to like pick it up and toss it, bro. And by that time, they could have already been in her face tackling her or something. The point is, she didn't have to lose her life. Listen, them cops or that particular cop, right, wanted to take her out. They wanted to yeet her off the face of this planet because they get off by doing it. They get off by doing it because they love when black folks lose their life. Emphasis on they. All right? They. Stick with me. And no, we're not talking about the elites. Before somebody tries to catch it like that, they, okay, all right. Now, stick with me. Stick with me now. They like to see this. But this time is crucial. This time is crucial. Anyway, I hope that this woman is with her king. Because she said, in Jesus' name, I rebuke you. She didn't say nobody else's name. So I'm assuming that she holds on to the faith. And may her soul rest. But for this cop, I want you to have, I hope, you know what? Let me not hope that. But if he gets the death penalty, oh well. I just wonder how likely is that to happen though, fam? Come on now, bro. How likely is that to happen, fam? See, because people want to see him in jail for 20 years. I don't. For what? I don't understand. America's too soft on the death penalty. Seriously. America is too soft on the death penalty. Listen, if you grape a woman, death penalty. If you grape a man, death penalty. If you murder innocent people, death penalty. Think you going to jail for what? Tax dollars to go to the for what? I know why they're trying to get as much time out of it because of slavery, right? But you know, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole. Talk about a certain amendment. But again, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I'm just saying, stick with me. I know why they wouldn't try to just yeet them off because you know they can get paid for that. I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it a buck. Hope I'm not talking too fast for anyone. I hope everybody can keep up. But seriously, on a serious note, like enough of the slight little jabs. My heart is broken. My heart broken. Because some of you black men are talking about 40,000. I mean, are talking about 44,000 black folks. I mean, black women raised 1.5 million for Kamala Harris, and you trying to frame that to be something stupid, but you're not talking about this woman who lost her life to a Caucasian man. I don't care who you vote for, but why the heck is this not important? I know why y'all doing it. I know that pimping out the black woman is a hustle for you. I get that. Yeah, pimping out the black woman and always blaming the black woman, that's a hustle for you because, you know, that's what you do. But you won't talk about a sister who just lost her life, and that's our sister. Well, maybe not your sister, because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. I mean, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Y'all know the saying. But this right here, this should have been the one day where you do shut up, and talk about a sister lost her life, man. Y'all dudes that sat on panels all day talking about single mothers, and one of your own just died. Y'all make me sick, bro. Y'all make me sick. Y'all dudes make me sick. And then you wonder why I be so against you so much. Y'all make me sick, bro. Y'all dudes don't even talk. Listen, well, I don't know if this classifies as femicide because it was a cop that did it, but even on the femicide thing, we talking about women. We talking about black women. Y'all don't address the stuff that happened to black women. I shouldn't have to be one of the only few dudes who talk about what happens to black women, bro. That's a black woman. Speak up for her. She dead. She can't speak for herself. Speak up for her. She's dead. She cannot speak up for herself, bro. Can y'all talk about this woman? Exactly. RIP to Miss Sonya. Justice for Miss Sonya. I want to know how much time this guy. If they give him 10 years, I need to see him in 10 years, if you know what I mean. I think the black community needs to see him in 10 years, if you know what I mean. When he gets out, we need to see him. Matter of fact, it's been a whole bunch of people that we need to see. Seriously, fam, we gotta start stepping in and doing something. Because what's that dude? George Zimmerman? Am I saying his name right? He should be actually, never mind. Let me keep my mouth. Let me keep my mouth shut. Let me keep my mouth shut. Perhaps this ain't the time. I'm just saying a lot of these people need to be checked. I'm not saying nothing crazy now, but like, just need a little bit of talking to. You know what I'm saying? Talking to. You feel me? Just a little talking to. Like, hey, fam, just a little conversation. You feel me? Conversation. If you know what I mean. But yeah, man, this hurt my heart. This hurt my heart. We can open up the panel. People want to come up. People want to give their opinions. If you come up here on some coon talk, listen. I'm trying to be a better Christian, but my mouth, I'm still working on it. And you might just know I'm still working on it. But we can go ahead and open the panel. YouTube, I'm gonna send you the link. You can if y'all want to join the discussion. Kim West says this was worse than George Floyd. Ooh. I don't want to compare two black people's deaths, but I get what you're saying. So I know you're not doing that out of discomfort for your heart. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask: do y'all think that this was worse than George Floyd? It is. Oh. Yes. What's going on?
Something I've noticed about this is now cops have less rules of engagement than I did in 3 deployments to Afghanistan. You know how sad that is?
Yeah, that's
what I was in a war zone and I had more rules of engagement than a cop does.
Well, when we try to speak about police, reform, nobody, wants to really jump on board. But I don't.
Yeah, no, they don't. And you know, and it sucks too, because even if this dude gets convicted, and I mean if,
Yeah.
he's just gonna get put in protective custody. I work at a prison, and all these crooked ass cops and correctional officers and judges that we have locked up in at the facility that I work at,
Mhm.
they're just put in protective custody.
Wow.
And that's all that's where he's gonna go. Just in protective custody. He's gonna get let outside for 1 hour with the other protective custody inmates.
Mhm.
And he's gonna be fine. And it's fucking pathetic. He needs to be in Gen Pop.
Oh, he wouldn't make it in General Pop, but he needs to be there. Oh, yeah.
No, he wouldn't. It's just. I'm so sorry for you guys, man. Like, I remember when George Floyd happened. I was just getting out of the Army when that happened. I was stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado, and I was out there, you know, with the protests, and I was saying the same things, and it's like that was so hard to watch. Like, that was really hard. But what I saw last night, when I saw that body cam footage, man, like that broke my heart. And it takes a lot for me to like really feel emotion towards things. But that broke my fucking heart. She was joking around with them. She was being so sweet to them and thanking them. And this dude just executed her.
Yeah, it cause but I want to say thank you. One, thank you for your service in Afghanistan. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for all that y'all do. And thank you for seeing. Thank you for seeing the stuff that we try to call out as people, but we just get muted. Please, y'all gift this man. Please follow this man. Because every time I can find a good I don't know you personally, but every time I can at least a person empathize with what we go through as a people and we try to call it out, I want to say thank you every time and show you love and grace over here. And I appreciate you.
It's sad because you guys get silenced.
Yes, we do. I mean, we're trying so hard. I mean, like, here's the there's a lot. There is some good Caucasians, Hispanics. There's a lot of people that speak on what's going on, but it's just not the overwhelming majority. And it's going to take some work to actually get people to open their eyes. But it's 2024, man. Like, I don't if we can't see it. I mean, if we can see it on camera and they can still deny it, I don't know what else to do.
There is nothing else to do. And you know what's sad about it too is like, even if, you know, you were to defend yourself, you know, like we have the Second Amendment, we have the right to protect ourselves, especially if you live in, you know, like I live in Alabama, unfortunately. And you know, it's a stand your ground law state. Even if the police were in the wrong, I would have to have every shred of evidence. I'd have to have witnesses, footage, recordings, everything to prove that I was in the right to defend myself in an unjustified shooting. Now imagine if my skin color was different. It wouldn't matter even if it was unjustified shooting. You guys would still get crucified for that.
Yeah.
And it's fucking sad.
Yep. But
and that's why I've been saying for so long that like the American police, and not all cops are bad. I've met some good police officers, people who actually care. They're very few, at least in my experience. But they resemble a lot of the Gestapo.
I don't even think listen, I'll be real. Even with my thumbnail, I mean, even with my background picture, I don't think the majority are bad. I think just the majority don't speak up. Like, why is it that they don't in our community? We got this thing called accountability. I just don't feel like they be really holding each other accountable. And every time they see something happen, we don't see like this mass outrage from other cops in the community. Like, why would you do that? Like, you stupid, you know what I'm saying? Anything, just nothing. It's just be complete, you know, radio silence, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what to say. We don't know what to say.
It's too much of the, you know, the good old boy club. It's too much of going shields up rather than being like, hey, you fucked up. We're gonna hold you accountable now. You know, but they don't do that.
No, they don't. And I don't. Well, I know why. But it's dumb. I mean, it's right, clear, blatant ignorance, racism. It just should be a thing, bro.
Yeah, and it's sad because it's 2024.
Yeah, but it just seems sometimes it's just this hard divide between black folks and Caucasians or whites, whatever they prefer to be called, or even if it's just American. I'll be fair, just Americans. The problem I see is that I can bring the education to them. I can show them the contextualized history. I can say, hey, all they there was never any compensation for the damage that was done to the community. All they ever told us was lift us up by the bootstraps. We did that. I could bring up Lake Lanier, and then I could bring up, hey, when people say, well, what laws are in place against you today? How does that affect you? I could then say, well, all they ever did was change the paper. I mean, the words on a piece of paper, which is the law, and took them away, but they never compensated for the years and years of damage that was done. I can't even have a conversation about reparations to a lot of Caucasian people without them even getting mad. Because I'm not, because they view it as begging for money. I'm like, no, I'm not begging for anything. I'm still working. But if you contextualize the history and then we look at the Jews, we look at the natives, all of that, why is it that when it comes to black folks, it's just like, fuck it, you're on your own? And then when we talk about the police force and we see it, they be like, well, what about black on black crime? There's no such thing as black on black crime. Crime is crime. Crime is due to proximity. You can't call crime over here white on white crime and stuff like it's like always a something. It's always a rebuttal when we're just trying to speak out on the issues that we face as black people in America. And I don't understand why that is.
It's just blatant racism, man. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you. I'm glad you're saying it. No, I said I'm glad you're saying it.
Oh yeah, dude, it's clear as day. You know, and I don't know why so many other white people have such an issue with recognizing it. I don't get it. And it's like you even mentioned the reparations thing. You know, I didn't understand reparations for the longest time, and I had someone explain it to me, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense. And I started researching more into it, and I didn't realize that Native Americans were given reparations. The Jews were given reparations. The Chinese were given reparations. The Japanese were. Why isn't the black community given reparations?
I have no. Listen, listen. The only people that could ever fix, because black folks, we can't fix it. We're not the powerhouse of the. Right? The only people that could fix that would be the John Browns, or since he's gone, would be people like you to just educate other Caucasians on, hey, it's not as black as white as you seem. I mean, as it seemed. There's a lot of nuances that's there. Only Caucasian people who have could open their hearts up to actually empathize with the black folks, and then if they can understand, we would be a better America. We would definitely be a better America.
Yeah, and it's it kind of just blows my mind that so many people are arrogant to it. Like my mom raised me to just judge someone by their character. To see someone's color, acknowledge their color, but don't treat them differently. They're a human being, and everyone deserves to be treated properly. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect. And I don't understand why that's so hard for people to understand.
Hey man, if we could get more people like you to speak on it, like I said, we'd be a better country. But man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming up. I'm following you. I thank you for the conversation, and you stay safe out there and be blessed in Jesus' name, brother.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for letting me come up here. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right.
All right, you have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye. Beautiful conversation. Absolutely beautiful conversation. And I love that. I love that. We need more people. We need more people from other races too. Empathize, sympathize.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I just wanted to let you know I'm 20 years old. But I just about this whole situation. This situation really just ruined my day today. Like after seeing that video, I've been talking about it all day because it's just so horrible. Like these people, I don't want to be sound a little racist, but this man unalived somebody for no reason. No reason.
Mm-hmm.
She ducked down, was hiding, even said I'm sorry, and this man pew-pewed her while she was trying to protect herself from the very person she called for help.
Did you see the app? Did you see the second video of what the cop said?
Yeah, calling her a crazy bee and not letting her use the med kit. Well, she don't need. I'm not going to waste my med kit.
Well, I think that was the second cop that said that, the one that did not pew her. I think he said, don't use your med kit because she's already gone.
I just think this is so sad. Like this situation is horrible. It's like I really just don't understand. Hey, I just don't really understand how somebody can go this deep, this low. It's just like straight racism right there in your face. It's like, wow, this man took this woman's life for no reason. She did not deserve any of this. She did nothing. Nothing to deserve this.
I don't know, man. Like my heart, I'm stiff, but I ain't that stiff. And it take a lot to break me, but this one broke me down when I actually watched it, and then to see his heart, no compassion, of him to call her a crazy bitch, that made me mad. Like I wish I was there.
Exactly. It's like a rage. I was just so mad watching that video. I wish I was there and I could do something. That's like I knew her. That's how broke, like how disgusting this video is. Like it really breaks you to a point, especially being a Black woman or man. It's like, wow, the lengths these certain police officers will go to just because they have a badge is horrible. This woman did nothing, and then the fact that people will sit back and troll. Like, do you see the comments? And
I see all that, and I really wish all that would come up, because if you're really saying that she threw that water, she didn't. What flew up in the air was her hand mittens.
Oh, exactly. And then my thing is, let's say we take these delusional people's side and say she was a threat. She did threaten him to use the water. She said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, to threaten him. This woman ducked down the moment he pulled out the pew-pew. The moment he pulled out the pew-pew, she ducked down and said, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And he still took this woman's life.
So all that, if you're not going to come up because I sent you a request, but you're going to keep saying ignorant, stupid stuff that is not contextually true or intellectually honest, then I'm going to block you, fam. So either you're going to come up and tell me where you saw this in the video, because I can play it. I can play the video and make you look dumb. Or you can or I can block you. If you want to come up and have a conversation, come have a conversation.
Right. This was horrible. That woman did not deserve it.
All right, but you have a good one, because you're being a coward. I don't tolerate cowards.
Right.
I think I got some more people in the. Oh no, nobody knows.
I made a lot in the same way, same people, and you already know the color of their skin comes on the live. I'm just being, racist as always about the situation. Oh, well, she said this. Who would say I rebuke you to a cop? I mean, even if she was saying I rebuke you and he found offense to what she said, that does not give you the right to take her life.
There's been worse things that a person has said to a. There's been people that said, I'll effing take your life. There's been people that said that to the cops, and they didn't take that as a threat. They just wrote them a ticket and kept on moving. But the skin color was white. But
it shows that you don't have the mental capacity for your position. If your next step to defend yourself is taking somebody's life because of work, why are you working as a police?
How you doing?
I just we're done talking, Nene. No. So you can
What's
go
up,
ahead.
problem? How you doing, man?
Okay. So America loves the death of Black bodies
Yeah.
piling up. It is profitable. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is a idealism for them. It is a goal for them. And the more we know about this, the more we educate ourselves, the better off we will be. We do not have any allyship in these people, okay? And I just want people to know that it goes down to a genetic level, how they think, operate, their behavior. It's who they are. They exert violence. They have done this for years. It is in textbooks. It is engraved in us. And it's very scary. I just was crying my eyes out. Sandra Bland died July 13th, 2015. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm tired of all this correlating. I'm tired. America is at, if we have always been at a very sickening point between what's happening in November, just about everything that is transpiring around us. And if you don't feel it right now, it's gonna be too late when it's to feel it. And we the new adults. I'm not sure how old everybody is here, but we are. I'm in my third. I'm 30. And it's like this is our battleground now. This is what we are up against. I mean, and it only gets worse. I can only imagine the people with. I mean, it's from every angle, from the school system to the fucking courthouse, is a problem. I mean, guns in schools, kids getting. I've never been at a loss of words on anybody live, but I'm afraid for my life. I'm just now looking up how to get a gun license and get armed. And people have to understand we are up against a fucking force. And if we have never stood together, yesterday was the fucking day. Okay? So see what's happening with these, I'm sorry to curse, with these Black women, men, whatever. This shit is getting real fucking close to my doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to get to a point where we cannot stay still no more. We don't have that choice to stay still no more. We've been not having a choice, but it's getting to a point where it's all or nothing. When and where do we stand tall, and how do we band together? I'm not gonna keep talking, but this is a very, very serious topic, and we have to fight and make it to the finish line together and alive. No more spilling of Black blood, Black bodies piling up, decaying in the dirt, whether we know it or we don't fucking know it. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. No,
I'm gonna say this one last thing. I'm gonna let you go. This lady said, and it's throughout history, slavery, even up to today, we just now finding unmarked graves with multiple bodies. You can think of the worst, most fucked up thing, whether you know what happened or not to Black people, and 9 times out of 10, it did. I'm gonna let y'all talk now, y'all. I'm gonna go on mute. That's all I'm gonna say. I love y'all. I love my people. Our lives matter. Our lives matter. Your lives matter. All our lives matter. But Black lives matter right now. We are the ones who need help. They talk about a fucking civil war and shit like we probably didn't already notice that this motherfucker don't win.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck? We have a civil war regardless. And what these Republicans and these motherfucking politics like to do is play fucking mind games and shit. And I'm going back on mute. I'm going on mute, y'all. Go ahead.
No, you good, man. Go ahead, problem. And then Dr. Nico, how you doing? We'll go ahead, problem.
So I didn't see the prompt because truth be told, I probably wouldn't. So I may or may not have told you this before. Like I came to TikTok because I, for like 9 years, was very active in areas of social justice. I had a pretty good following because I went viral on Facebook for talking about this kind of shit. And so I was exhausted. I came to TikTok to make fucking jokes. I was burnt out. I don't know how many fucking rallies and things I went to. I don't know how many different organizations I was a part of and tried to get different things established, to the point where when I saw people's true apathy, I became frustrated and no longer wanted to participate because their activism ended at a mouse click. You cannot change things without getting in the streets. You cannot change things without knowing how you have to organize around not only local politicians, but there's much more to it than the posts, right? There's much more to it than that, and that's great for raising awareness. But there's so much more to it. So the apathy frustrated me. I no longer wanted to participate in that apathetic behavior. So that being said, this video obviously is there's not a lot that can be said. It's beyond heartbreaking. It's beyond infuriating. I no longer know what to say. Like I think I told someone that in my head, the first thing I thought was, wait, did she splash some hot water on him? Like when she said, "I rebuke you," did she throw some water on him, like to pretend it was holy water? Because in my head, I'm like, look, not that would have made it okay, but she had to have done something, right? Like there had to have been something that provoked this, because this does not make sense for it to be this insane of an execution. There had to have been something she did to provoke this. But I watched it 10 times. She didn't. Her hands went over her head with an oven mitt, and she ducked to get away from his psychotic behavior, because to point a gun at someone for saying, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," is not even just unhinged. It's demonic. There's no other way to describe it, right? So I got to a point of just complete disbelief, which is odd to say because we've seen this behavior. We've been seeing it. But it's still, I think, sometimes gets so shocking that I was truly at a loss for words. And I just, I don't have the energy to watch people get riled up online and say a lot of this, that, and the other, and then say goofy shit like voting for Kamala Harris is the answer. That's not. And if you think it is, that's why shit will continue to happen like this. And so I just, my frustration is beyond fucking words. And I'm just going to stop because otherwise I'll just ramble about nothing, because it's heartbreaking.
Well, I wanted to add, because I see Doctor, just give me 1 second. I wanted to ask, like, where does one go to get educated on how to move in and out the political arena? Because it's not just, yeah, you're right. It's not just about speaking online, which is good. I get it, because it's a social media. We bring awareness, but how does one learn how to organize? How does one learn to navigate through the powers that be when it comes to trying to break you down? Like, you remember Erica Coakley, how we brought up that story. Like, there was no line of defense for her, and she was targeted just for running for the school board, actually winning twice. So where does one go to get that type of information from? And then where is our army to protect us when we move in like that in those spaces? That's a question to you, probably, man. Because I'm just trying to learn what more can be done.
Sure. I mean, the first thing I can do is, the first thing I would do is just, there are local organizations that you can be a part of, right? There are already established organizations. I would say becoming a part of those. And, I think one thing that people tend to forget, you're not going to agree with somebody 100% of the time, 100% of the way, right? So, I think what happens is people they start to become affiliated with these organizations, and they don't like the way the organization moves, which is understandable, right? You have your own ways of thinking something should be done. You disagree. You have to become a part of even that organization to suggest and start making differences in how they operate. For one, there are self-defense organizations in most people's cities. You have to seek them out. They exist. They're there, right? Hang on one second. I'm sorry.
You good? You good.
And this is the part that I'm going to say. I hate it because I don't like it. I'm not a fan of this, but this is, if you want to move this way, you have to go down to your city hall meetings. You have to get to know who these people are that represent city council. You have to, so there's all these little organizations in your city that they can start to gain momentum. But it also, like I said, the thing about it, it requires participation and momentum from all the people that say this, that, and the other. It's like, so yeah, you yourself, you go down and you become a part of this, and then you try to get people involved. But if you don't have the numbers, it fades away like anything else. And I think that's, like I said, that's where I get frustrated, because I've gone and I've seen it time and time again, how something like this will whip people up into a frenzy. And then I'll just throw out some random numbers. Out of 1,000 people who will click on a post, 50 of them might show up to the meeting that they said they would. And out of those 50, 10 of them will follow up with the next step that's needed to get something done. And then out of those 10, you might start seeing 2 or 3 of them regularly enough to know that they're serious about it. And think about how abysmal those numbers are, that it will shrink from 1,000 to 3.
Okay, so we have to start meaning the shit that we say. And not just meaning it, we got to move with the shit that we say. Okay. Well, I'm definitely gonna I feel you on that. I'm definitely gonna look into to what more can be done, because I'm in Houston. I think you said you're in Dallas. And yeah, because I know you're tired from actually doing all of what's funny, Darnell. Actually, I'm not even gonna let a comment derail me. I'm not even gonna let a comment derail me. Lord, not today. Not today. Dr. Nico, go ahead. I'll finish my point later, but go ahead, man.
Yeah. Before I even get into what I was gonna say, I wanted to also add to the question that you asked. I think everything Problematic said was legit ways of getting involved and doing something to help push the agenda forward. I would also say my own advice would be read the literature. You know what I'm saying? Read Malcolm X's book. Read about the Black Panthers. Read about, all of the folks who came before us, who was in similar predicaments, who, were the leaders or the organizers who helped gather our community, organize community members, and, push an agenda forward. And I hate to say it, I don't hate to say it, it's the truth, but many times you will find that the people who actually ended up getting stuff done are not working within the realms of politics, because quite honestly, politics were not made to work for us in the first place. You have to work outside the realm of politics, and it'll put pressure on politicians. But aside from that, I won't lie, this entire situation, unfortunately, is not surprising. We know that the police force was created from, slave catchers, the institution of slave catching that existed before the police force was organized in this country. I mean, I'm not talking about like it was influence. I'm talking about they rallied all the slave catchers, all the people who were official slave catchers, and said from now on we identify as the police department. I mean, it was a direct transition. You know what I mean? And so, of course, at the core, at its core, the institution of the police department in this country has always been inherently anti-Black. You understand? Because that's the foundation on which it was built on. And it doesn't matter how much reform there is, at the end of the day, the entire system has to come down and be rebuilt because it's the foundation that's corrupt. You know what I mean? I also feel that Black suffering and police brutality and violence against Black bodies has been so disgustingly normalized that it doesn't cause the type of uproar that it should. And now in the modern day in 2024, in recent years, I feel like a really big part of sustaining that normalization of images of Black violence and suffering is partly videos like this being disseminated. I mean, I almost posted it on my story on Instagram when I first saw they released the video, but I just knew it was only going to make people more curious to go seek the video out. I almost posted like, please, y'all, I know y'all curious, but do not go watch that damn video. I understand the context matters, and people need to understand that this is real, but it's been real. It's been the reality for the past 400 years. We're not lying. You understand? I feel like disseminating these images online and, having other communities, not even just the Black community, but having other communities outside of the Black community see images of Black bodies, violence being inflicted upon Black bodies, makes those types of images a little bit more normalized in their head. And then when it happens the next time, it's not as shocking as it should be, because something that is completely disgusting and insane is normalized because we hear about it so often, but we watch it so often, and that is just not normal. It is not normal to watch people die, bro. I don't care what nobody says. It's not healthy for anybody's psyche. You know what I'm saying? And it's I feel it's very performative as well. But anyways, outside of that, I think it's very telling, like the language that he uses in the video, the behaviors he exhibits in the video, and I mean, it basically affirms everything that the Black community has been saying, that the conservatives will turn around and say, self-defense, or, find some way to justify the killing, or the unaliving, of these Black folks who end up tangled up in police violence. And I feel like this is one such instance where there really is no narrative to spin. Like if any good comes out of this situation, maybe, like, if I'm trying to be optimistic, maybe it'll be a wake-up call for some people who have been in denial that this is the reality of things, that these, folks in a police force feel this feel this authority, this superiority over Black folks, and know that their badge, allows them to get away with anything that they want.
We know Brandon Tatum not gonna.
Yeah.
I apologize, YouTube. I'm sorry. I see you, Mooney. Let me get New Way to. She was up here. Go ahead, ma'am. Is that how you say your name? New Way, Miss New. You gotta unmute your mic. If you press on yourself, and you can press the mic button.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to say I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm a middle-aged woman, and I'm frustrated, and I'm sad more than anything. My day has been very bad all day, and I can't even think, and I can't even focus. And I'm so tired of the racism that I myself receive on a daily basis. I live in a sundown community. And which is even worse, I live outside of a military establishment. Mm-hmm. So I get a lot of it both ways. You were talking to a gentleman earlier that had served in Afghanistan.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was back then. They are flooded in all entities, in the police, in the military, in the lawyers, in the doctors' offices, in the hospitals. They are all over. They are all over. And living in a sundown town, we have to make sure that we are home before dark. because if not, we get harassed. We can't drive back roads because they have roadblocks, and they humiliate us. They have us sitting with light shined on us. And this is not a couple years ago or anything like this. This is now. This is happening now. Our young Black boys cannot walk down the country roads without being stopped, without being harassed. In a town 2 counties over, they just shot a 13-year-old Black kid outside, but I don't hear his name. Everybody's like, oh, this is only because it's election time. This has been going on. It's just so many of us being killed. It's just not enough news or media to post it all on a daily basis. And I'm tired. Every time I go to work, you're going to go over here, or you're going to go over here, because I work in mental health. So how they approach the whole situation, they handle it wrong, totally wrong. I have worked with murderers. I have worked with women that have killed their children. I have schizophrenia, bipolar, and yes, they will kill you. But at the end of the day, they've been through so many traumatic instances that they're just automatically on the defense, and their mind is in a whirlwind. Had he approached that with more respect than he gave her, maybe she wouldn't have been so nervous. Or maybe she wouldn't have been so fidgety. And he was just agitated. And he didn't think of her as a human being. He had no regard to life when it came to her as a Black woman. And I see this all the time, every day. These good old boys, if it's dark, they ride up on us. They ride up on us, and they especially harass Black women in this town where I live. This is why I do not be out at night. And I live in the country, and I live on 2 acres of land. I have to go down a dirt road. When I made a complaint one time, when I first moved here back in 2004, I got stopped because I had a Florida tag on my car. I kept getting stopped. And here it is, a 50-something-year-old woman. Oh, your car looked like it been involved in a home invasion. And I was so scared that I didn't exercise my rights. They tore everything out of my car, my glove compartment, my trunk, emptied my purse on the trunk and everything, asked me how long I'd been there, and the whole time they were shining flashlights on my face out in the middle of nowhere, because I live on nothing but back roads in my area till I get in town. Then I'm on the main road. So this racism, it's not going to stop. And it has nothing to do with oh, they're doing it because election time, because that's totally a myth, because they're going to do it regardless. It's just that election time, they want the Black vote so that they can keep the Republicans out of the office. But that's still not going to stop the problem that's going on. It's still, until there is some kind of reform, until there is some kind of training, they put these police officers, let me tell you, they put these police officers because Johnny Mac's son, oh, he's a grown man and he got a baby on the way. So next thing you see is Johnny Mac's son on the police force, not the police force, but the sheriff's department, which is only about 10 or 12 of them. And they all sit in town at the Waffle House together. Hold on.
Mooney had raised her hand. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just wanted to confirm that I'm going next, but I didn't know where she. I think she was finishing.
Yeah, I am. I just want to say that I'm just tired, and I'm so sad for Miss Massey. I'm so sad, but we have to do something. We have to stop talking the talk and not walking the walk. But then when it's time to walk the walk, we all stand behind a wall. Because then we say, oh, I don't want to lose my job. I got a family to take care of. Okay, but what about that life? What about that life? That life doesn't matter. We all matter. Whether we're white, black, brown, purple, yellow, we all matter. I'm tired. I'm tired. I am tired. I open up this TikTok. It's another young life taken. It's another old life taken in its sleep for nothing. But I just thank you.
No problem, man. Mooney, you finna go. But Kim West on YouTube left a comment saying, I was just in another comment section. Some idiot gonna say the lady called the police to set them up, like to throw water on them. Unbelievable. Go ahead, Mooney. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, that's stupid. So I want to say just a few things, and I'll make it pretty quick, and then I'll land my plane. And then because my squad's online on the Xbox, and we're about to wreck some stuff tonight. A few things. One, I do think that it is important, right? When it comes to revolution, we have to understand that it's not a monolith. People do need to keep their jobs. You do need to feed your kids. You do need to make sure your kids go through college. You do need to make sure, right? So a lot of times there's talk about, and no disrespect to New Way, but a lot of times we get frustrated and say, well, I get people are worried about their job, but what about what's happening? Well, it's important that there's a solid foundation of people that are still keeping things going for the next generation. That's important for one. It is one of the things in revolution that you do need that base foundation of people that are continuing a microeconomy going. Number two, again, like I said, revolution is not a monolith. Now, for the record, I'm an abolitionist, and that means I want to end things. That doesn't mean rebuild it, right? If it's ended, it's ended. You can't rebuild something and expect it to be different when the identity of that very thing remains the same, right? You have to dismantle the identity of it. There's never been a time where these things weren't built to operate this way, and so you cannot rebuild it in a way that would operate any differently. That's just not how it works, right? Number three, if people really want to find out how to at least disrupt the system, because for abolitionists, for Antifa, for the people that are behind the scenes doing the grunt work, the dirty work, a lot of us who don't have kids have nothing to lose. We watch our community activists. If you can't name the top 3 community activists in your community, then find them and watch what they do. For me, it would be Ijeoma Oluo, Jordan Chaney, and Nikita Oliver. They work on the legal side. They work a lot in the town halls. Things like that. Now, I don't say that they're going to be the change, but I also think that they are key in disrupting things so that the abolitionists can happen, right? People that are abolitionists, there is no peaceful way of doing this. Like I said, it is ending of a system. And in terms of rebuilding what that looks like, you have to go to the communities. This idea of one way working for communities is not going to work. It never has. Even in the days of our ancestors, communities were different, tribes were different, things were ran differently according to the needs of the community at the time. If you empower the communities to regulate and run the communities as the community sees fit, right, you will find that not only does it work better for those communities, they also work better in tandem with other communities as well. So again, if you want to find out how to disrupt the system, like if you have a 9-to-5 job and you've got kids, obviously they can't go hungry, but you want to find a way that you can disrupt or make the current system uncomfortable. Find your community activists. There's always 3 to 5 of them. And if you find them, you will find out they've been doing work for 10, 15, 20 years, right? One's usually a lawyer. One's usually a seasoned activist. There's always usually an author in there somewhere. It's the same across the board, right? When we're talking about revolution, again, because revolution is not a monolith. You need multiple aspects across multiple parts of the pieces to disrupt in multiple ways in order for things to be broken down, identities to dismantle, and then coming together to rebuild something new. And the final thing I'll say is if you are looking to do this in your lifetime, you are in the wrong business. Keep going to work, keep doing what you're doing. That's fine. These are things that I do that I'm never going to see in my lifetime. I don't have children, but if I did, it's not going to be in their lifetime. My nieces and nephews, it's not their lifetime. It's probably their kids, right? This is 400 years in the making. It's probably going to take 100 to 150 years more if you really want to be honest. And the only way that we can keep on track with doing that, again, is recognizing that revolution is not a monolith. It requires multiple pieces. And if one aspect of the group needs to do this, so the other aspect of the group can handle another, right? One can't work without the other. And it took me a long time to realize that. I used to get really frustrated with the marches and the protests because they do nothing. I used to get really frustrated with the people that just wanted to vote in their party people. Because what are we doing? I'm all gung-ho. I want to wake up on a Wednesday and I want to burn stuff down. And it took me a long time to realize the entire scope of what revolution actually looks like. It's not Martin. It's not Malcolm. You know, it's those are important, right, for literature to know what the path you take from that, and you progress it, right? So that's my thing. Again, I'm an abolitionist. I call people comrades. So that lets you know who I'm voting for, which will be none. I'm a socialist. I won't say the C word because I don't want to get this live in trouble, right? But again, I and I'm going to drop. But I also recognize that people look at the scope of what revolution actually looks like. Find the piece that you can play in and play your cards as best as you can. Play your cards as best as you can. You have a spot. Just because you can't overthrow the whole system does not mean that you don't have a role to play in abolishing the current systems that we have. These things take time. They take time, they take patience, they take tenacity, they take stubbornness, and they take a little bit of recklessness to give up some comforts in order for the greater good. It's not going to be seen in our lifetime. But as for me and my house, we'll be causing problems in these streets. That's it. That's all. Again, and please, if I had to encourage you, find out who the DA is. If you have to vote, go to your local elections. The DA is important. They have more of a thing in a way. If you have to vote and do it that way. But also, please go find out who your community activists are. If you can't name the top 3, then I need you to go and do that. That's it. That's all.
I appreciate her perspective. Hey, y'all don't forget to gift the panel. Thank y'all. It's 170 people in here that joined. If you could, just tap the screen. Appreciate you. It don't take much to tap the screen. Bradley, you were next.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Shannon, for adding me.
No problem.
So I just want to start out right confrontational, but I just like to start out. I'm a conservative, right? I'm a Trump supporter, but I saw the Sonya Massey body cam footage. Bullshit. It fucking sucked. Those guys had awful tactics. They went into a house. They were way overzealous. They didn't offer health, any kind of CPR or anything. It was fucking bullshit, and they should be charged. I would like to say that to the point of the panel. I agree with that 100%. I saw the whole thing. It was very well documented, and my father, 2 uncles, grandfather, they all police officers. I went a different route. I went construction because I saw what it did to their families. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to start by saying, saw the footage. He should be charged. I'll say that right off the bat. I would also like to add to that, I'm not from an area that I am involved or come into communication with too many African Americans. So I would like to offer this question. I'm in front of 4 representatives of the African American community. So I want to ask this question because I don't know if it bothers me, but it involves current affairs, current politics. So in today's world, and it's a fair point, it's a fair fact, and it is a fact. A majority of our population, I want to say 15% of our population is responsible for over 50% of the murder. Whether that is black on white, black on black.
I'm in light of what's happened, I have no fucking patience for that type of disgusting bullshit. No patience. None. Not playing that game with these people at all. That's all.
He had me in the first half a little bit. He fucked up.
So wait. I gave certain people powers so they could do whatever they want, and I was just waiting like this, like that's why I have my mouth closed. I knew it was coming because I knew Zena was gonna drop him. I knew Problem was gonna drop. I knew somebody was finna handle it. But anyway, go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, I'm from the UK, so yeah, I've not really seen a specific one, but yeah, it's cool. It's a mad thing. It's a mad thing. Like, can I ask you this? Are there white people who are more racist than other white people, or we all just the system is the system, and there's no getting out of it? Like the system's created this mad situation between us.
Well, I'm sorry. Can you say the question
You know
one
what
more
I
time? I couldn't understand the question. I'm like, what did you say?
So yeah, in terms of being a white person, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
is there people who are more racist than me and less racist than me, or is it just the system has created this system? This, do you know what I mean?
Are you asking? Are there more like is the Caucasians here in America more racist than the Caucasians everywhere else?
I just said, is there like, did you know what I mean? Because I've spoken to a few of these ones before, and it's like the system's created this thing, and there's nothing you can do. Just the system has created this imbalance, whatever. So it's fucked. Do you know what I mean?
Go ahead, Prophet. Go ahead and handle the question.
I'll be quite sure what you're asking. It sounds like you're asking if there's any help for being racist. If that's what you're, if I'm hearing you correctly, maybe I'm not, but I'm not going to pretend I'm not having a hard time understanding the question.
The question is, like, I feel like I'm not racist, but like I've been in a few of these groups before, and they're saying you cannot be like the system is created from back in the day. That's how it is.
Okay. So here's the thing, right? I think, and this is something that, you know, there's I'll explain the way she put it, because I think she put it really well, right? If you went through school systems successfully, it is virtually impossible not to be racist, right? So what she means is that, yes, you are going through a system that indoctrinates you, that essentially uses propaganda to the way you think. So whether or not you recognize it, you more than likely have internal biases that have been created intentionally, right? So even if you believe you're not, even if I've been a member of this, I have friends this, and I know people in my family that, and start doing the work to undo some of that. But what they are saying is that, yeah, it is going to be very difficult for you to not hold these biases for two reasons. One, as humans, we all have them, right? Like we all have biases. It's literally the way your brain works. In order to save you brain power and processing time, you create shortcuts, right? Even though we hear the word stereotype and immediately think it's bad because it does have a negative connotation, a stereotype typically, truthfully, is meant to create a shortcut for your brain, right? Because if you're out in the woods and you hear a sound, you don't have time to analyze and think of all the things that it could realistically be, process it, this, that, and the other, because in the 2.5 minutes it might take you to try to process that, you could end up being attacked by a wild animal. So what happens is your brain creates a shortcut that you hear a sound, you fucking run. Your brain's like, nah, we ain't got time for what I typically know is that in the dark and in the woods and that type of sound means danger. Boom, I'm out of here. So that's what our brains automatically do on their own. When you add to that the molding and the shaping of these stereotypes and subconscious blueprints, when you add to that things like racism, then that's where it becomes almost impossible to separate your thinking from what they want you to think. It is difficult. So you would have to work at it. So yes, if you were brought up in this system successfully, that's what they're saying. It is more than likely that you are going to hold some racist thoughts. And it may not be intentional, but you will have to work on it to actually undo what they intentionally did.
Jack, you can unmute your mic. Did that answer your question?
It did, yeah, it did. It did a bit. But like, it does still trigger me in a way. It's not a right way to think, but it does trigger me to think that I try and not be that way. And it's like, well, you are. It had nothing to do about it. You are. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's a little bit unfair.
That's fair, right? That's called
Yeah.
cognitive dissonance, right?
Yeah.
Like we laugh about that word because we had somebody the other day, but that's the true, that's one of the true meanings of it, right? Is that what you're doing is you're coming face to face with something that you don't like to believe about yourself, and you're uncomfortable with the idea that you might be, right? So you shouldn't let it trigger you. What you should do is examine where that's coming from and try to identify those points that they may be pointing out and saying, okay, is there something I can work on? If I am these things, why are they saying I am these things, right? There's like, and I can understand being upset, but that's the thing. Do you let it just upset you, or are you truly examining it and trying to learn what they're saying, right? Because if somebody tells me, hey, you're this, well, okay, why would they say I'm this? You know, do I have blind spots? Because I'm not perfect, right? As a human, I'm not perfect. So I have to examine where this is coming from that they think I may fit into this thing. And so, you know, being honest and being able to examine that is what allows you to progress and get past that.
Yeah, like I say, it doesn't trigger me. It triggers me. It's like, what? I feel like I'm not that. You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying.
Let me see. I got somebody in the guest box. Name is Jack Frost. Here we go. Yes.
Where are we with the conversation right now? I don't want to, go off topic.
He was talking about racism, but we're all addressing the prompt. Like, well, not the actual prompt, because obviously I went to the extreme, but we're just talking about the case. How this is sad, how it affects us, blame racism, all that. Do you have any opinions on what actually happened to this woman?
Yeah, it was absolutely wrong. And if I was a betting man, I assure you, officers like this, they have showed signs way early on that show that they shouldn't have been an officer. But what happens is they just get a slap on the wrist over and over and over. And in that time, the officer feels like they're invincible, and then stuff like this happens. You understand what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people in the African American community are, they're enraged. And what I will say is this: is in the African American community, if you want to be taken seriously, this is what, from my experience, what I've seen. When other races feel like they've been wronged by the police, it don't matter. It doesn't matter how minute it is. It could be something as simple as jaywalking. If they feel like that encounter was wrong, they will push that issue to the end. They don't care if it takes 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. They will request body cam footage. They will put pen to paper. But with a lot of African Americans, it's just like a yelling fest. You yell, you curse, you say, I'm going to sue you, say I'm going to do this, and you never do it.
That's
right?
cap.
It's just a bunch of yelling.
That is cap. That's cap.
You say that's not true?
That's cap, because there's been so many cases where we pushed. We requested video cam footage. Matter of fact, if it wasn't for Black people requesting video cam footage, we would never got some of the video cam footage for what happened to us.
Well, like, I'm talking about like I think you're talking about the big stuff, like this stuff right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about small things, right? And I think that sometimes we stop just at the money. So if you get, so let's just say that HC pays you out $450,000, right? I've seen it where they just stop there. They feel like they want just at the money, but no, keep pressing on, because somebody needs to be arrested. Somebody needs to go to jail. Somebody needs to be in prison. You know what I'm saying? Not just pay people off for them to be quiet.
What of us is getting paid off? I am confused, because if I start naming cases, it was Black people that pushed to get the body cam footage, the loudest voices, social media, the marching, standing outside of the police station day in and day out. Like, what? Derek Chauvin would have got off if it wasn't for us.
Black people also advocated for body cams. That was a big thing too. So,
well, body cams been around for a long time. Have they been utilized correctly? No.
Yeah, I mean, because they get rid of the
being utilized correctly, 24/7, different policies to go into as.
But that's not. I was asking
when to use.
But I was asking you, saying that we're not serious. We're not taking serious because we stop. everybody on this panel has said that they're tired. They never said that they stopped. There's black people that still march and advocate for change. I could start naming names that I've even connected with. They're always at the local town hall meetings. They're always on the educational board talking about the disparity between education and stuff like that. And then they're allowed. And then when it comes to crime, they be the biggest advocates, so much to where they're taking bullets in their own neighborhoods for standing up against the shit. So like, I'm very confused.
So I'm gonna real quick chime in because I think I'm gonna guess, and I could be wrong. I don't know if you've been a part of any organizations. So when you say that, I'm gonna tell you firsthand. I've been a part of certain groups that worked directly with trying to eliminate some of the stipulations and clauses that exist within police contracts, because I don't think people are really aware of the behind getting change implemented, because a lot of these police, they have these things built into the contract that does not allow for certain changes, right? And what that means is that even if you elect certain officials and get it in there, they're not allowed to make changes. They have these little hidden things in their contracts. And so what you literally have to do is almost get the city charter written. I don't think people understand how difficult something like that is. You're right, and that's my point, is that, when you say, oh, they don't go far, no, people go far, but I don't think people understand how far some of this shit you go is. And it's like when you hear and find out about these different stipulations that are buried deep within these contracts that are made with the police, you get so ridiculous that it feels like a never-ending fight. And so it's not that people aren't going far enough, it's that the amount of organization, time, and effort and energy put into it that is feasible sometimes. It's like Mooney was saying, people have to find their niche, because you still have to figure out a way to provide for yourself and your family as you exist within the society. And the amount of time and energy that it requires to get some of these things done, it's damn near impossible. So it's not always that people are apathetic. It's that, how do you get this done with what little time you have to also live, right?
Oh, I was just coming back to my seat. You didn't have to stop talking. What's the name? Jack Frost. I thought you wanted to rebuttal.
Oh, no, I agree with everything that he just said. That video, man, it's sad. I think this is actually worse than George Floyd.
It is by far. It is absolutely by far worse than that. It is. That's why I said in disbelief. I could not wrap my head around what I had just seen. And like I said, as odd as it sounds, I kept trying to find and convince myself, no, there has to be something I'm missing, because this couldn't be what I just saw. Real quick, I want to say this, for who are interested in learning about this, I want y'all to look into two things. One is something called restorative justice. This is an alternative proposal for how the justice system could and should look. And what that means is redirecting your efforts and energies on a statewide level, even, into not throwing people in jail, the typical justice system that you're looking at, but actual rehabilitation, right? Therapy and counseling for certain aspects. I think it's something that people need to start looking into and to look like, because throwing people in jail has not worked, right? The so-called, so a complete revamping of your justice system is necessary. Also, I think a few years ago, there was a thing called, not a thing, but I guess a movement, whatever you want to call it, called defund the police. And a lot of people don't understand what that means. They heard it and they immediately got this weird place of fear, like, well, what do we do? What will we do without the police because of the criminals who do exist? And it's like, look, first of all, I think people need to understand the mindset, because let's be real about this. The police don't stop crime. 99% of the time, police don't stop crime. Because if the police are being called, that means the crime is already taking place. By the time they get there, they usually aren't there in time to stop it. They end up writing up a fucking report most of the time. They serve warrants. That's the most of the time they arrest somebody, it's because they're serving up a warrant, right? So the police, they're not, their job, I think, is misunderstood. People don't understand the nature of what they actually exist for. So when people say defund the police, I'm going to say two things about that. Because one, it's meant to incite a large reaction, right? Because you're like, wait, it's a shocking thing to hear. I have mixed feelings on that because I understand the need for attention to be brought to something, but I'm also a person who's about communication. And when people hear defund the police, they don't understand that it actually doesn't mean justice system. It means that you don't give police departments enough money to own tanks. It means that you don't give police departments enough money to a small military within the city. Money that is normally given to police for dumb shit like that. And you get county programs, you get that money. Other systems that I was talking about, like restorative justice programs, so that you don't need private prisons, that many police, so that the police don't need the 21st century riot gear and things like that. So that's what defunding the police means. It means redirecting the funding so that you don't have an over-exaggerated small military, and instead you're looking at new and more positive ways to enforce justice in your communities.
Go ahead, D. I'm not calling you Big D because I feel like that's kind of not my cup of tea.
All right, bro. All right. I feel you. Hey, look, Jack Frost. Now you said that in some of these cases, most of the people stop doing it after they get paid, right? Let me say this to you. It's out on the individual. I've been fighting for my son like for 4 years. Before that lady in Springfield, before that happened to her, my son got murdered by a state trooper up there in 2000. He pew my son right in the back of the head. I've been fighting that case for 4 years. But you know what it is? Ain't no amount of money they can show me is gonna stop me. Because I want justice for my son. He wasn't armed. You still shot him in the back of the head. And there was a traffic stop. So I'm tired of people coming on here talking about, well, she should have did this, she should have did that, that wouldn't happen. Until that come to your doorstep, quit making accusations like that. Because I never thought it would come to my doorstep. But it did. I'm in Arizona. He went back up, check on his kids and his mom.
Hold on, D. I'm sorry. I did not mean to interrupt that heartfelt. My moderators, I need y'all to handle business because somebody disrespecting this man's son. Yeah. So moderators, I need y'all to handle business. But go ahead, D. I'm gonna mute my mic now. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, but I mean, it's sad. I never thought I would have to go through this. My son left my house September 27th with my granddaughter. Went back to Illinois and lost his life October 7th. So people come on here talking about people did this, that, and other. Until this hit your doorstep, I'm not trying to hear it from nobody. Because when I looked at that video of her, it brought back every piece of memory of my son to fly for Arizona to go see him laying on a slab when I know he had just left my house a week ago. That's all I wanted to say.
So sorry.
So sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. But I've come out here and speak because I gotta, like like my therapist. Because if I sit around and just don't talk about it and let it bottle up, then I'm gonna lose. That's why every time I see somebody on TikTok having this type of conversation, I try to chime in on it. You know what I mean? I'm in that situation. I feel like I know what it feel like.
Man, like,
The police out here killing us legally. I mean, if they doing it illegally, they gonna still do it legally. It's just crazy. All these stories, like of people doing absolutely nothing and still getting brutally murdered by the police.
hey,
I know,
hold on, give me a second.
Reforming and stuff, but
Hey, problem. Watch this. Watch this.
I'm sorry.
Look, no, you good. You good. Look at this dumb comment on YouTube, bro. It's always one of them. CNG215 who doesn't even have a face. One thing contextually, you have to realize that every Black woman doesn't believe that a fetus is a baby. So have a little grace. Oh, he says the number one unaliver in the Black community is 30 million Blacks deleted through Planned Parenthood, not police. And I'm assuming you're a man to say that. But yet, damned if she has the baby, damned if she don't. And I just find it funny that you would bring up a woman's autonomy and what she's deciding to do with it when we're talking about a woman who got unalived by the police. Any and every opportunity you guys get to throw the Black woman under the bus, you will. And it ticks me off. I'm not that guy. I'm not Anton Daniels. I'm not the angry man. I'm not any of them red pill dudes. I'm gonna be the dude that you call me, the super simp. I'm gonna go super saiyan. I don't tolerate that dumb shit because half of you guys are losers. So please miss me with that nonsense, bro. You niggas will be the destruction of the Black community. Stop calling yourself a leader, provider, protector when you say stupid shit like this in my comments and you don't act like one. There you go.
Hey, trust me, I'm not a fan of reform. I only say this because I think these are more immediate, viable options for people to pursue. I think where my mindset is because it's not something to be talked about here. But say that it's because I think these are the steps that can be taken to try some steps toward something. I think it's a realistic expectation that you can have right now. Because I think also when you start and looking into new ways to attack restorative justice methods, it also begins to eliminate the need for a police department so that it can ultimately be abolished, right? So it is a step in that direction because obviously if you do things like decriminalize drugs, you eliminate how much so-called crime, right? When the more steps you take towards eliminating crime, like addressing, wealth inequality, the more steps you take towards that, the less and less the argument can be made for the necessity of the police department, and you get that much closer to complete abolishment. So when I'm talking about these reform ideas and revamping of the system, it's only because I feel like those are the most palatable options that might be able to be implemented in the near future. Not because it's what I would actually want, but because I think it is something that you can make a case for that people are not going to immediately reject, right?
You got hit on in their pockets. They don't like that. When you redirect the money, they go crazy. So that is a great talking point and something that definitely needs to come together.
Who is Black Nemec? I'm gonna go Black. Yeah.
It's me, Danny. Yeah, I just want to get into how this guy even got the opportunity to police there in the first place when You see, its record is showing 6 different police departments. How do you get the opportunity and you've already effed up somewhere else? You know, this has obviously been a problem. He's obviously had to escalate situations to this point before. So how does he? How?
I mean, when we're dealing with a system that, well, I'm pretty sure you know the answer.
Yeah. I just can't say it. I don't want to.
You can't. I don't follow TikTok's rules. As people have been cussing, I don't care about getting yeeted because I at the end of the day, I gotta keep it real. So if the damn system was built on racism, I mean, why would they take them out? Why not keep them in there? Why not give them the chance to go take out a minority when that's what they want to always do anyway?
Yep.
So we're dealing with pigs with badges, gang members with badges.
Yes, sir.
But I feel you. I would love, listen, as a black man to another black man to black women, I would love to ask the question why. You know what I'm saying? And actually mean it. But half the time, I know we've been black long enough. When we ask why, we already know the fucking answer. We really be trying to say, bro, why us? You know what I'm saying? Why us? Like, why we gotta be dealing with the bullshit that we deal with? But I understand the question, but we know the answers, fam. We know the answers, bro. And I'm starting to agree with what Mooney said. I think I never looked at it the way she did it. She said, what did she say? She said, movements are not.
Listening to Mooney break the shit down, but essentially she was pointing out that revolution is not a monolith. There's not one way to attack it. There's several fronts that you can take to put things into motion to help bring about the ultimate change that we're looking for. And I think and she said something that's the hard truth. We're not going to see it in our lifetime. We're just not. Like even if you think about these things in their most extreme terms, and you look at the history of the creation of America and its revolution from Britain, and things like that. These are things that took place over decades and decades, if not hundreds of years, right? So it took a long time to establish this new civilization. And so the idea that we're going to be able to change things in like 5 years, it's unfortunately just not a reality, right? So her point was that there are many ways to bring about the change that we say we want, and you've got to find your way to contribute to that. Additionally, what I would say, and this is separate from what Moody said, let me make sure, and I don't know if she would agree or not, but I would say this: I personally am always fascinated when I see people like, you've got to vote for Kamala, otherwise Trump is going to be in office and it's destroying America. And I'm like, wasn't that the fucking point? I'm saying this system's so bad. Like, for real, like, y'all, like, I swear to God, like, for I don't know how many years, everybody was posting, fuck the system.
Yo, that is hilarious.
You realize that she's part of the system,
That is
right?
fucking hilarious. I never thought about it like that.
The systemic racism portion, I think she's there doing her piece, so I wouldn't say that Kamala would be my first choice, but I'm good.
That was fucking funny. That was probably you are problematic, man. You're very problematic.
I mean, but it's weird because it's like, oh no, fuck the system, and then like a few years later, oh, we gotta save the system.
We gotta save the system.
Let that shit crumble. Let the chaos come about. Let the system fall apart. Let it close.
Oh, but go ahead, Mr. Phil Reed. I know you just gotta go ahead, kid.
Yeah, the system that he's trying to dismantle, he's trying to undo all of the work that we as Black people and people of color have put in all this time. He's trying to take the country back in time. I definitely agree that there's a lot of things that we need to change in the system. But going backward on equality or on racial issues, I don't think is the way. And as far as the brutality is concerned, I definitely think we need some type of federal oversight or some type of federal standard when it comes to policing brutality. And we also need to have like a system to where they're sharing information when these police officers when they go from, you know, department to department, just carrying on the same behavior, you know, until they get in trouble again. I mean, there should be a way to where, you know, the other departments are notified, or somebody on a higher level can see, you know, the abuses that these officers are out here doing, and start holding them accountable.
Okay, so I got a question, and I don't want to step on no toes. Do we actually fucking need these people? Do we actually need these people? Outside of jobs, outside of money making, do we as Black folks actually need them?
You mean which
Them. I can't really say the color, but them.
I think the state that we're in now with you.
You say the state we're in now, that we need them?
I think so.
Okay, because I wasn't trying to make it racial or nothing, but I'm saying, like, if we, well, I go deep, and I ain't trying to go that deep. It's a heart issue that I be really trying to address when it comes to my community. It's a heart issue that if we could address the heart issue and come together, that would be different, whether we agree on different things or not. But, you know, if we can't get past the heart issue, the empathy and sympathy and grace amongst Black folks part first, then we get somewhere. But until we start, you know, looking at each other in that way, not all of us, because a lot of us still do. That's not what I'm saying. I just believe the gang members should come together, build an army. We should be more communal, and also we make enough money. I don't believe that whole statistic that we the biggest spender. We just need to circulate our dollar. We got to circulate our own dollars. Now because we have a lack of grocery store, right? Because we make up only 13%, right? Because we don't have maybe a lot of people in AC tech, a lot of Black people in construction or whatever, but we're gonna have to start slow and build in every neighborhood, and then start circulating our dollar. But we can still circulate our dollar by by actually supporting major Black businesses instead of giving a dollar back to the man. But, you know, again, I know that's a stretch, but if we could get there, we'd be all right. We'd be all right. Not saying everything would be good, but I think we'd be all right.
I often wonder, like, what type of event is it going to take for our people to unify? You know, is it going to have to be, you know, a bunch of, you know, George Floyd to make people finally try to think about doing what you're talking about doing? But right now in the current state, like, you know, we can't even organize crime. Like, you know, we can't even support each other on good things or bad things, or we've been having a hard time to do it in mass. You know, so I love the idea.
Well, I think we do unify in crime. I think we just don't unify against the gang members.
No, where in history have you heard of any successful or even organized crime movement that's had staying power? You know, Latinos got IMA, right?
Well, when I was speaking of, okay, I may have reached a little bit too far. So what I would say is, back in the day, there was a different type of masculinity that Black men carried themselves with, where men were checking more men. No woman could walk down the street and get beat up without 10 men putting their foot in his butt. No little kid could show up missing without the whole neighborhood coming to fight. And that stuff still happens. Like, don't I'm not discrediting that it's not happening. I just don't know if it's happening as much. Because everybody we're on the age of minding your own fucking business. The age of, well, I don't know what she may have done. I can't get in that business, or I don't know what he did. He probably did that to himself. Like that type of individual. Anyway, there just used to be a type of stature that men carried themselves with, and women back in the day, that seems to be fading away, especially on the damn talking points that a lot of people have. But if we can get back to that, like, hey, we all one people, we gonna operate in that. Now, crime will still happen, but still, like, if we all one people, we gonna operate in that. We're not just gonna talk about it online, right? Because basically what Leonard said, minding our own business is killing us, man. So Hey, problem, would you like to jump in? Anybody can jump in, bro. I'm not sure I'm gonna have a question about.
I'm going to say this. We will continue to be a severe disadvantage for a couple key reasons, right? As it stands, we allow what is essentially our enemy to educate us and our children. How the fuck are you ever gonna do anything when your mind is corrupted from get-go, right? Like, I'm telling you a quick funny story because I remember I was at a friend's function and there were a couple white folks there, and I'm talking to them, and I asked them just out of the blue, I didn't even want to make the connection right off the rip. I just asked. I was like, I'm just curious. Would you send your child to a predominantly black school that had a predominantly black curriculum and that had pictures of, like, say, Frederick Douglass, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, all through the hallways, and they had a black principal, black teachers, just black, just black, everything was black. And the horrified look that came across these white folks' face, and when I tell you horrified, and they were like, no. I was like, well, why? And they're like, well, because my child isn't black. I was like, that's weird, because black folks got to do that shit every day. Every day we send our children to schools that have white teachers, white principals, a Eurocentric white education curriculum, and we don't think fucking twice about it.
Okay, so what do we do? Because the only I understand what you're saying. I promise I get it, but I'm gonna upset the diaspora. My lineage is cotton. Hold on, wait, stay with me. My lineage is cotton. I don't know where the fuck I come from. And to some degree, I care, but I don't, because I mostly care about my people that fought to be here, right? So this is my home just as much as it is the Caucasians. So could we just, nobody is supporting Dr. Umar's school, and I think he's a fraud anyway, just because of that. It's a lot there, but should we just start trying to build our own schools? And then do we ever talk about building our own schools, and then what kind of money that would take, how much time that would take? We can't just pack up and leave.
You're right, and that's the catch-22, right? Like, how do we raise a generation of people with the mindset that is required to start building our own institutions when it requires institutions to do so, right? Like, all of these things we're talking about have to start in a place that, how do we even get there? Because, yeah, schools are necessary, right? Because, like, what are we talking about here? At the end of the day, we are ultimately talking about fighting institutionalized racism. How do you fight that if you don't have any institutions of your own to combat that, right? We are literally at the mercy of them for almost everything. The education system, the criminal justice system, the healthcare system, the banking and financial institutions. All of these institutions are controlled by people that we know don't have our best interests in mind. So while, yes, we can say things like, we know that we need black banks, we know that we need more black physicians and healthcare possibilities and potential. We know that we need all of these things, but how do we get to a place that requires that? And so that's why, like, to kind of fall back to something Mooney said, when she said she's a abolitionist, it's like, right, I'm not trying to save this system. It's almost impossible to restructure this system. This system was built for and by them. I'm not interested in changing it. I am interested in either destroying it and starting anew, or simply getting away from it and starting anew. Because at the end of the day, everything that is required to build up our own is only going to be they're going to gatekeep and block your attempts to do the things necessary so that we can have our own institutions. If we want to have these private schools we're talking about, it requires a lot of things that, guess what, they hold the keys to. They're going to block the attempts for you to do that.
So let me hold myself accountable real quick. Xenophobia, dislike or prejudice against people from other countries. So, brother Gotti, I don't know if what I said was actually qualified as xenophobia. I literally said, as far as I'm concerned, my people are from here. My people, and that's as far as I'm going back. I don't know if it was prejudice or dislike. But if it was, I apologize. I just don't feel like that I fit the definition of xenophobia when I said that. Now, if I'm wrong, somebody can please correct me. But go ahead, brother. I see you out there.
I just wanted to share a couple of solutions that I've worked on and am still doing right now, and it may it speaks to, you know, best piggybacking off of the brother that just spoke. I come from a line of entrepreneurs, and I've been in executive lending and all of the business planning stuff. I'm only giving a background to say that from that, I learned that we have to be okay with starting small, right? So what I mean by that is that I've planted clinics and medical services inside of HUD communities and some of the poorest communities simply by starting with surveying the people to find out what type of healthcare insurance they had, and then matching them with doctors to service those needs because people wanted to take our dollars. I've done the same thing with education, cybersecurity schools, and other certifications. I actually homeschool my. We're using technology and AI automation and do online to circumvent the dollars that we don't have to start a brick and mortar. So what you're saying is true because I'm doing a commercial body. Their business plan would be great, but if they don't have the collateral to offset that business loan for the recoup their money, they're going to get burned down. And so what we've been doing is finding ways around that. And I think that we need to do part of our education is stop seeing our communities through the purview of poverty, right? That's a white narrative that all of us are, we have to see our land through the more traumatized and the poorest people in our community. That doesn't mean that we don't do everything we can to build them up. That just means that we're the only race that doesn't support like those people that are right there on the cusp, like our middle class, our emerging, right? You'll see Jewish people support each other in their best and brightest minds. You'll see, different people groups support their best and brightest minds. It's almost like in our community, if somebody is doing well, it's like, well, I'm not going to help them out because they're doing better than me. They're driving this thing nicer than me. And I think another thing that we have to do, and I'm just kind of jumping around here a bit because I don't want to suck up too much of the air, but another thing that we need to do is start an exodus out of these cities. 90% of us were rural. Mm-hmm. And we were baited into the cities to work for factories that then, after the civil rights movement, closed down categorically and moved the jobs that they baited us in to be treat labor out of the city. And we're so focused on the places where they placed us and redlined us in, and not the places where we placed ourselves, when the only real economic presence we've ever had was like during Reconstruction, where we placed ourselves in little towns and stuff all around. And even this place that I'm in is called Sandy Grove in Georgia. It was cleared by free blacks. And now this neighborhood is 70% black, and median income is $100,000, and we living in 4 or 5 bedroom houses in a middle class black neighborhood, which doesn't exist in most places, and I don't think could have been built inside of the inner city by us just trying to fight against those institutions. So I just wanted to chime in and share that there's other ways to do stuff.
I think he said a lot. Because maybe the biggest problem is that we don't serve. We don't have a servant. Well, I ain't gonna say we. I don't want to generalize all black folks here. Not enough of us, maybe not a small portion, don't have a servant heart. Crafton, Crafton.
Hey, Joe. But I think our biggest problem is a trust issue. It's a trust issue because people so afraid of, okay, we working together. He might take this from me, or that person might take that from me. If we can meet in the middle, we can get stuff done. But we're not gonna get it done if everybody at odds with each other.
If you can trust the white, how do I say this without?
I feel you. I understand. I truly understand.
How do I
what
say
you're
this
about
without
to say.
getting men mad? How do I say this without making black men mad? You know, we get to talking like that, niggas get mad. But seriously, if you could trust the white man,
Yeah, and I think, and I think what he's saying is right. But I think the thing that we again have to stop doing too is despising small beginnings. We always feel like the people with the least amount of resources have to be super big time. Start with the circle of the brothers that are around you that are like-minded, and stop trying to, we have to stop trying to convince people that are really not moving where we're moving, that don't have the same GPS location. You can do a lot with a small group of brothers, right? Like, when you think about like how much homes cost right now, right? If one person will qualify for a $400,000 or $500,000 home, or even a $300,000 or $200,000 home, right? And you could just have three brothers like that are willing to pull that credit together, you guys can move forward and make an impact. It doesn't take 1,000 people. And I think that when we look at stuff like the previous movements, they always started with a small group of people before they became big movements. That was the Panthers. That was every movement didn't start with 1,000 people. They started with 4 or 5 or 6, half a dozen faithful people. And then they grew from there because people are attracted to unity and that type of leadership. And so I think what happens a lot of time is that we get in this like nonprofit mindset where I'm gonna go help 1,000 poor people, right? And if everybody doesn't, rally around my cause or believe what I say and follow me, then I'm gonna throw up my hands and give up. No, start with that, like Jesus. Start with the 12. You know what I'm saying? And build some more disciples and work from there.
yeah. Now let me hold on, y'all. Give me.
I agree and just say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think there's two things that are happening with that. One, the past has made us we see the end result, right? So like you were talking about those movements like the Panthers, we saw the bigger part of that, right? We didn't really see it in the historical context. We didn't really see it from its early beginnings. So we see the end result at its peak of those movements. And so we want that kind of stuff immediately, right? We're like, no, we want it now. We want it now. We don't want to do the early work, right? The other part of it is that those movements are also romanticized because of historical context. Is that you see the part that gets put in the history books. You see the parts that are well known, and we look for that type of exterior, right? That the way that's presented, we want to see that all the time, and we don't understand all of the work that really went into those things. We don't understand, like you were saying, the small beginnings. We don't understand all of the hard work it takes to go out, hand out flyers, and try to get people to become part of those organizations and the build up to get to that point. What we do is we see the end result, we see that, and we're like, we want that. And and I get it. In our lifetime, it's like we don't want to wait. We don't want to, we feel like we're we see all of this injustice. It's like, I don't want to put in 10, 20 years of work to make an inch worth of progress. We're frustrated and we want to see the end results immediately. And so, you know, again, like I said, call back to something Mooney said. She's like, you're not going to see it in your lifetime. And if you think you are, this just ain't the game for you. And it's an unfortunate reality, but you have to realize that if you're going to participate in this, you are trying to lay foundation for the future generations. And if you can't understand that and don't want to be a part of that, then this just ain't the movement for you. Leave it alone. Go to work. Try to deal with it and be complacent as best you can, because this ain't going to be the way it works out.
So one thing that hold on, give me 1 second. One thing I want to say is that I do have a woman on this panel who holds a special place in my heart. Met her, got to know her story, and she's a true activist. She was actually targeted. And for every one of y'all that follow me that actually donated to her GoFundMe so she can look into her son's death and gave her gifts one time, I appreciate y'all. Her name is Erica Coakley. She is on here, and this is a Black woman who was targeted by Caucasian men, the powers that be, because she won the school board twice. Okay, but she won, but she dropped out on the second time because they threatened to take her life. And she also received a text message saying that your son will be yeeted by Christmas. And for some odd reason, nobody would give her a voice. I met her. I let her speak. She's been thanking me ever since. She doesn't have to do that. But I invited her up. She didn't request. I invited her up because when it comes to activism, besides problematic, this woman has actually done the work, and to the point where you can look up her news article on Google. But go ahead, Mama.
Peace and blessings. How are we?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm okay. You know me. I'm just scrolling by, and of course, I see you up here talking about Sonya Massey, and I just want to say thank you, really, for always holding a place for things like this right here. I've been in and out of social media because of a lot of the things that we've been witnessing, and really, right now at this point, I agree. Really, what Problematic said, it said a lot to me. When he said that if you think you're going to see changes when, in this lifetime, you're really not. That if you feel like you need to, then this is not the movement for you. When I ran for Charleston County School Board here in South Carolina, I keep saying I did not run to win. I didn't run to win. I ran to make people that look like me, melanated people, mothers that look like me, to wake up and pay attention to a lot of the things that's been happening and taking place. And I'm really glad that a lot of people have opened their eyes and they're paying attention to a lot of things that's happening. I did not look at the video until just recently. Like when I say recently, right before I came on to TikTok and before I came on to your page. I didn't want to see the video. My daughter saw the video, and it's just heartbreaking to me that they're still taking lives of Black women, of Black people, and they're still trying to find justification. When I looked at it, and then I see things like, Ben Crump coming to the rescue, again, it's one of those things to me as a mother who's been out there on the line. My condolences to the family, and I'm sad that they had to deal with this right here. But it's also another thing to me that it shows that we have become so used and complacent to seeing things like this take place that when I speak or when I have been fighting for justice for the last 2 years, you get shunned, you get overlooked. And if it's not caught on video, like this particular thing, you don't get the hype, you don't get the conversations, you don't get the help. And I hope that makes sense to, what it is that I'm saying. So again, as a person who's been out there on the front line, I'm glad that I was able to do it and able to open up some eyes for people to see the things that are taking place. I'm sorry that I had to lose a son in the process. But again, I hope that in the future that this does lay some ground for people, for more mothers, for more African-American people to not just hit the polls and vote and fuss about voting, but to also get serious and about putting our names on these ballots, guys.
So I want to say, y'all, please, if y'all follow me, please follow her. Follow the people on the front. Definitely follow Problematic. But give me 1 second, D, because I have a guest on YouTube, and I'm going to let him speak, and y'all will be able to hear it. Let me see if I can unmute his mic real quick.
Yeah,
Yes.
can y'all hear me?
Yeah, hold on. Let me get you to come through the speakers real quick. Can you speak?
Yeah, yeah. You can hear me?
Speak again?
Testing, testing. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, yeah. Man, I've been listening to everything you guys been saying, and you know, I agree with a lot of the things you guys been saying. But you got to understand, man. Like, it's pretty much a wrap. It's over. America, Black America is set to be like Brazil, right? You got to look at, like you said, what can we do? There's really nothing you can do because the big issue, like all these different things, like what happened to the young lady Sonya, is a symptom of our proximity to these folks. And unless you can remove the proximity, like you're a nation within a nation. So when people talk about things like black crime and everything like that, you're a nation within a nation. All of that stems from being systemically targeted by the government, the US government, documented, right? The black codes, COINTELPRO, redlining. You're being systematically targeted. It's not like you have full autonomy or sovereignty to govern yourself. Even when people talk about black crime, right? That's funny and ironic because with black crime, it's not like we can police ourselves. We don't have no military might, no police force to police ourselves or to dish out justice or punishment.
We used to police ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Right. So what could you do? Well, first of all, we have to have full autonomy and sovereignty to self-govern ourselves. We're being targeted in every area of activities, socially, like, right, sexually, in education, in media, with propaganda, in the medical field, we're being targeted, right? Black women are, what is it, 5 times more likely to die on the table. Black children are 3 times more likely to die if they're born through a white doctor versus a black doctor. You can look that up. You're being targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know those stats. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you need a leader. And people say, you don't need a leader. You do need a leader.
No,
you need a leader, and I'm gonna tell you why. You look at China, right?
I don't think we need a leader, bro. I think what we failed at, we should learn from that. We need a movement that's not a leader, but it's the whole collective as a group. We don't need.
Yeah. But let me give you some context. Let me give you some. I understand what you're saying, where you're going with that. But let me give you some context of what I mean by you need a leader, right? What you see what's happening with China. China's taking over the world. They're over there in Jamaica. They're over there in Nairobi. They just took over the telecommunications center in Ethiopia. They're spreading their culture all throughout Mexico. And your grandchildren, more than likely, are going to be speaking Mandarin, right? In the future. Why is that happening? Because their government, the communist China, is forcing, even if the Chinese don't agree with it, they're forcing them to move like a hive mind unit. The same thing is going on with Russia. Putin is forcing them to move like a unit. You need things that bind you, right? And that's a leader. What is the leader in the Jewish community? Religion. What is the leader in the Arabic community, right? Religion. There's a lot of times where an Arabic woman wants to date outside her race, but she doesn't. Why? Because she's bound by the religion, right? And the culture, right? Sometimes culture will bind them. What binds Black America? Hip hop, entertainers. Sometimes we come together during times like this, deaths in our community. That's really the only times we come together. So you need a leader. That's why you're able to see Tariq Nasheed.
Why do you think
you're able to see Tariq Nasheed galvanize so many people? Why?
But wait, brother, why do y'all go to the degenerates of our people and say that they bind us? They don't bind us. I mean, we act like we don't see Black people going to the town halls. We act like we don't see Black people that's not perpetuating the trash hip hop music or calling out the trash hip hop music. That doesn't represent the overall collective group of us. So I don't understand why we always go to these. Oh, what binds us is hip hop. What binds us is the futures of the world. What binds us is the overly sexual promiscuous woman and man, when it's mostly Black women and men that be calling out that type of stuff. That is not a representative of those are the degenerates of our culture. We don't be like, oh, the white trailer trash of the white community is the representative of the white culture. We keep doing that. That's not how that works. We always had trash. And I hate to say it like this, but I for better lack of words, trash black people. But they're not the overwhelming majority.
I agree. Perhaps I misspoke. Let me say again. Entertain us. We come together more so for entertainment, not just hip hop, right? But whether it's comedy, like more so like our entertain. That's why we look at our entertainers as like leaders to speak for us. In no other community do you see entertainers like the court gestures or the comedians speaking for the whole entire community. Not in the Asian community. You get what I'm saying?
But there's overwhelming collective groups of black people that come together to start organizations that call out crime, peace walks, all kinds of things that go on in our communities. But you think that we only come together when it on the backs of entertainment? We won't even say that about white folks. White folks.
No, I think we do. I think we do more so for entertainment. I think more black people come. Would you say that millions of black people come together when there's a hit song? Right?
What does that look like? What does a hit song? What does coming together on a hit song look like?
I mean, like we all can come together.
I'm sorry.
We all can come together and support that artist. Go to the concert by the millions. You get what I'm saying? I'm talking about like it's things like that. But we don't come together. Look, it just is what it is. It's the truth. We do come together against crime in small. Let me give you a better example. There was a Chinese economist that came up to the Jamaican prime minister, and he said, "You guys are the weakest group of people on the face of the earth, and you're the dumbest." And I got pissed off when he said it, but let me finish what he said. He said, "A Chinese man can go into a black community, set up a business right next to a black man, and you black people will support it while simultaneously tearing down that black man's business and put him out of business." And that's just the truth. Do we have some people that support black businesses? Of course, I'm one of them. So I know that we exist. But as a collective, as a whole, we're not. And I think it's highly due to our proximity to these folks, right? Because when you don't have the integration, you remove the integration, you're forced to sink or swim, right? We were forced to have to work with each other, right? Or suffer or starve. We were forced to. We're no longer forced to. You can go to corporate white America now. Right? You can support Amazon now. You can support Netflix. We support Netflix. Right? We come together on Netflix. How many black Americans spend money on Netflix? Let's get that data.
I'm trying to correlate. I already spoke about circulating the black dollar because I said that we're the biggest spender, but
I agree with you.
What are you trying to get with the whole Netflix analogy? Are you saying that because
I'm saying we need to use those same tactics. We need something that binds us together, rather it be religion or rather it be through music. And in some cases, we already do that, right? We try to rather it's through gospel music, but we need something like that, something that brings us together, like a Netflix. We can look for the data and try to find how many people support Amazon, how many black dollars go to Amazon, right? Now imagine if we had which in some cases we do kind of got our own black Amazons. We got some places where we, have black businesses and consolidate all those businesses. We need more of that, right? But I would say, unless we can do that, man, I would say that we're done, right? We're done as a group of people. We've been so stagnated. We're the only group that's really, I won't say the only group that's not replacing ourselves, right? But we've been stagnated population-wise at like, I think it's 12, 13%, 11% of the population for like over 100 years now. Yeah, man. So I feel where you guys are coming from, and I agree with everything that you guys said. But
I just got a quick question: how are we stagnant? Because let me tell you something. Every time black people have overcame everything. Every time.
No, I mean population-wise.
Population-wise. But hold on, wait a minute. Every time they told us to lift ourselves up by the bootstraps, we did. When they flooded out our neighborhoods, we kept rebuilding. Even when we assimilated to whiteness, we couldn't get a job. Now we got jobs. Black men have increased in their financial earnings. Black women have increased in their education and their earnings. So we haven't been stagnant as a group. We've just been adapting as a group. I don't understand.
No, I don't mean that. You got me wrong.
I'm sorry?
You got me wrong. I don't mean that. I mean, when I say stagnated, I'm talking about population size. We've been sitting Right now we're at 47 million, but we've been sitting at like 11, 13% of the population for over 100 years now. And that's almost damn near genocide.
I'll
That's
fact check
almost
that.
genocide.
That might be true, but I'll fact check that. But what are you trying to get at?
You know, all the people.
Are you trying to get at the abortion rates?
Well, not just that. Not just that. Everything. It encompasses everything, right? These police murders as well. Everything that takes us out. The young black men, young black women overdosing and taking their own lives. All these things. I'm talking about all encompassing, right? We're supposed to be more than what we are. I think it's for every 20,000 blacks that are born, there's one genius that comes out of that group. For every 20,000 per every 20,000 blacks that are born, right? But if we're losing a lot of our people, we don't know who's the engineers.
So you're
right?
saying we haven't grown because of all the issues. It's not just abortion. So
yes, exactly. We're being targeted.
It's every factor that's against us. You're talking about the being in proximity, the redlining, the murdering of
the crack, everything.
Oh yeah,
everything.
But we're becoming aware that that's already happened. So what does this transition look like to you? Or do we can't just pack up and leave?
No. It doesn't work. You know, I would say there's a guy. He's doing. There's people with boots on the ground, right? People are doing their things. You got Tariq Nasheed doing his thing. There's a lot of other brothers, a lot of powerful black women who are doing their thing to make a difference. There was a group of black women. I think they purchased 100 acres of land, right, to try to get something popping, right? But there's another brother who has something called the Black Achievement Fund. Right, the Black Achievement Fund. Yeah, pull that up when you get an opportunity. What he's doing is actually working. He's trying to get enough black people, right, to generate millions of dollars every month, and it's actually working, right? And with that money, he's trying to build an all-black town, and they're building it.
What's his name? I found it. I'll get his name.
Yeah, he's got YouTube videos too. He's actually accomplishing that. And you know, it's sad because Umar Johnson talks about this school, man, but it's been like 15 years.
I don't trust Umar. I think he's a scam artist.
Yeah, it's been like 15 years. You know, he's more like another Brother Polite or something like that. You know, but this guy is actually doing the work, and you can see the results, right? You can see the land. You can see the forklifts out there. You can see all the bulldozers. They're making it happen. And you yourself, if you participate, right? I think he wants $10, right? And we do that more for Netflix, right? And it's sad.
They change the prices.
Yeah, you can. We do that more for Netflix. If we can do that, and he has the people, we all give $10. He has millions. It's like 20, 30 millions of dollars a month. Right? And to build up this land where people have a safe space to start growing. We don't have anything to compete. Our government has to give us resources. We don't have a country. This is our country, right? We don't have no country to support us. We don't have no shipping ports. Like you could talk about crypto, right? Individualism. That's another thing that's killing us. Individualism. We don't move as a collective like Mexicans, right? You see Koreans and Arabs. What do you see in them Koreans? They move into black communities. But you also know blacks working in there. So I don't want to take up all the space, though. I don't want to, but that's what has to happen, man. We have to come together, and it's hard to come together being raised in a society that teaches individualism, right? Well, I got crypto, I got stocks, right? I got a 401k, I'm good. Yeah, but what's going to happen is if something when I don't want to say curse on your panel, but when ish hits the fan, you flee, you run, right? And then you want to run into the Hispanic community, right? You want to run into the Italian community. What do? They chase you out of there. Why you got to run from your community? You know what I'm saying? Instead of building up your community, you just run into other. You want to run to Brazil. You want to run to the Philippines. Eventually, you'll be faced with if it gets really, really bad, right? Everyone's going to retreat to their communities, right? Everybody's going to go back to if it hits the fan right now in America, everybody's going to do what? They're going to go back home to Norway. They're going to go back home to Ghana or do you get what I'm saying? They're going to go back to China. Where do black Americans go? Right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
We got to build it up. We can't keep running. Eventually you can run and you can have your 401k. You can have all these things and that's good. That's a beautiful thing. But as a collective, we're hurting. Individually, We're doing pretty good. We got 2.1 trillion spending power. We got 14 billionaires. A GDP ranked 16th in the world, rivaling Nigeria, right? A lot of black leaders, 67% of blacks are middle class. We're doing pretty good, despite the unique circumstance in this country. So we're doing pretty good. We could stand to do better. Every nation could. But that's what it's going to take. The same way we support Netflix, the same way we support Amazon. Probably got every subscription. Probably got Hulu, Disney Plus. But you can't put $10 to this brother's Black Achievement Fund to what he's trying to do. And people are doing it, and it's working. The millions are pouring in. We just more people to get on. We need more people to get on code. So,
I mean, well, like the viewers may be low on YouTube, but like on TikTok, everybody heard you. Like I'm pretty. There's 80 some people in TikTok right now, and we're going to be looking at this Black Achievement.
Yeah, and unlike a lot of these other scammers, you can actually see this brother's work. He's producing results, and he's showing you results every day. On top of that, people are actually able to go out to where the town is being built up at and see the results for themselves. See the land, what we're doing. And the plan is to expand, to try to expand. And that's what you got to do. That's what every other group is, buying up, gentrifying or wherever they can. A lot of these Russian immigrants, they're buying up property and gentrifying a lot of black neighborhoods. You got to compete. And unfortunately, our government is not allowing us the resources to compete. I don't understand how people can be against reparations when, and I can dig it. If you don't want reparations,
wait. I understand that we have some coons. But the coons don't represent the majority. So when we talk about Brandon Tatum, Coondis Owens, and all those, the people who are actually educated on, because Candace is an immigrant. I hope people know that. The people that's actually educated on reparations, the black folks, and understanding what that actually means, that it's not a handout. They don't come out their mouth to say any type of clown shit. Didn't Tariq Nasheed just get on Byron's ass?
Oh yeah, he's Sudanese.
Yeah, because Byron said something about white supremacy don't exist. So I know was that Tariq Nasheed or was that somebody?
Yeah, well, his whole entire homeland is dilapidated, and he ran from his homeland.
Yeah, so like exactly.
In the Sudan, I know because of the white supremacists. The British was over there.
Yeah, but man, I appreciate you for coming up, man. I appreciate you for dropping the knowledge. We're gonna check it out. We're gonna check it out.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Hey, no problem. You have a good night. All right. Break that down. How y'all feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think what the brother was saying echoes a lot of feelings that black people have. I would just say that I think we need to put everything in perspective. And, I think we, again, let other people tell us what our narrative is by making it seem like, these major governmental acts were a long time ago, meaning that redlining literally just stopped in 1970 on paper, right? 1968, but didn't really go into effect in 1969, and so 1970 basically was on paper, but that didn't mean that the citizenry stopped practicing redlining, that the banks stop practicing Jim Crow economics and redlining and all of that. So you have redlining stop in the 70s, where you have that one generation moving forward that can finally get some type of corporate jobs. So jobs in housing really didn't start opening up until the late 80s. The Civil Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, didn't even have teeth until 1988, where it could be criminalized, right? It went for 20 years where you just had to sue people in civil suits. I'm saying this because the housing stock in America is the average housing stock is 40 years old, right? That is the major point of wealth in this country. That's where people hold the majority of their wealth, is in their housing stock. So if we couldn't even buy suburban homes until really the late 80s and into the 90s, which that equity from that home sends your kids to college. it gives you the collateral to start a business in that. I think one of the things that we have to do is also be patient with ourselves to understand that no people group in the history of the world goes through 400 years of the type of oppression that we've been through with trauma on top of trauma. And we're speaking about this today with the killing of Sonya Massey, where this is continual trauma and just sprouts up and owns everything in the country that whites control 98% of the land, 98% of the banks. And I'm talking statistics, not just, flowery facts. You can, anybody could just Google this right now. They own all of the land, all of the banks, all the utility companies, all of the schools they control. So when we're coming from that and we have to build up with very little collateral and equity because of long-term systemic issues of redlining, we have to first work with people that are like minds. We can't expect a traumatized group of poor people that are barely making it check to check, which the average American, not just blacks, don't have $400 over their monthly bills for an emergency expense. And black people are most of the times in the red when you look at the balance sheet of the cost of living and how much money, we earn. When we look at that, we can't expect all of these people to pool a lot of that money. And I'm just saying, coming from the perspective of a commercial lender, one of the things that always disappointed me about the businesses that black people would come to me and still come to me to this day and try to start is that we try to start a lot of things outside of our core needs, meaning that we feel like we have to be super creative when we start a business, while other people groups satisfy their core needs first, like clinics, pharmacies, groceries, core things that you have to pay for to survive every day. We have the least amount of disposable income, but we want to sell people the backpack with the iPhone jack. We want to sell people like all of this creative stuff, and then we wonder why they're not supporting our cause or our business. We don't have it. I had a lady, and I'm going to be short here, but I just want to share this story. I had a lady come to me, and she said, I want to start a Payless shoe store, right? And I said, well, because it closed down in my neighborhood. And so what I always ask people is, are you really passionate about shoes, right? Or are you really passionate about what you're doing? Because you have to be passionate to survive, because 80% of black businesses shut down within the first 18 months. And I knew she probably wasn't passionate about shoes because she was trying to start a Payless, right? Mm-hmm. You would start some type of boutique or whatever, and not really taking into account that there was a reason why that Payless shoe store closed down in her neighborhood too, because they weren't making money. They wouldn't have closed down if they were profitable. And I told her, I said, why would you want to be in 9th or 10th position? Because she told me it was just about money. So I said, why would you want to be in 9th or 10th position in the market? We're trying to sell something about disposable income, that somebody had to use disposable income instead of starting a grocery store, instead of starting something core. And I'll promise I'll say this, and I'll go. Another thing that we have to do is that we have to get creative when we start our businesses. One of the ways I was able to plant all these businesses in HUD communities, all of these different businesses, is because I utilize the middleman economy, meaning that I use other products and services to sell those to my people and make the money off of that income, meaning that if we can't start a big brick and mortar or own our own factory, we can start by selling, just like, a person sells, the illegal pharmaceutical products in the neighborhood. They get it from a supplier and they resell it for a higher price, right? We can do that same thing with the core goods and services. I partner with Costco. I didn't have the money to start a Costco, but I surveyed the community and they wanted those Costco services in the community. So I got an agreement with Costco after I surveyed them and showed them that, hey, they were willing to purchase those groceries, that they would give me 14% back of the net profit, right? If I and they let the whole complex be under one Costco membership. And we made money over the top that way. I started a clinic with simply just surveying the community, finding out their insurance, and using a massage bed for one of the managers there and putting some Amazon paper on it, because I found out with a clinic, all you have to do is have a small room with a sink. And a year later, it was a full-blown clinic with people in the waiting room, and we had physical therapy. Now it's the largest free clinic in the state of Michigan that's sitting there, and it started with just a massage bed and some Amazon paper. and I'm not throwing this out just in case people think I'm faking. You can check my name and Google me online. It's Kino Smith, Kino, last name Smith, and CBS News, and it'll come up saying keeping money in the community, because these are things that we've been actually doing, but it didn't. I started with just an idea and a small group of brothers. So I just want to say, we don't have to have 1 billion people again to do something or to make an impact. You can start with a small group of brothers, and things will be bigger. Now we're about to have 2,000 businesses in the city of Atlanta on August 21st at the National Black Chamber of Commerce. Over 600 world mayors, black mayors from 25 different countries and cities all across the country. This August 21st at the Hilton, that's the National Black Chamber of Commerce. We're about to have that there, and we're connecting people with technology and doing all of that stuff. But my team is still a skeleton team. I still only have a handful of brothers pulling this stuff off, but it's happening. And so I just want to encourage people, like, don't get discouraged if you don't see 1 million black people clamoring around something. Get the people that you know and get small wins. Get some points on the board and keep moving forward. So I'm sorry, man. I'm just kidding.
No,
When I
you
hear people feeling like it ain't no hope.
Because he did say that. But what you said your name was, brother, so I could look you up?
Oh, so it's my name is Kino, Kino. Last name is Smith. And if you Google my name in CBS News, an article should come right up there. But I'll give you our website as well. So if you're looking stuff up, it's the LegacyGroupX.com.
I see it.
LegacyGroupX.com. And so that we do lending for black businesses, we do consulting, we have what's called a social capital connector, where we're using AI to do automated introductions for social capital. So say you're a developer and you go into a town and you don't know the subcontractors, you want to get connected with lenders, you want to get connected with local city government. AI will introduce you to those people from the connections that we have on the ground automatically, so you can scale. And this technology is actually being launched on August 21st at the National Black Chamber of Commerce event in Atlanta downtown at the Hilton. It's one of the hotels in the skyline. And like I said, there's going to be over 2,000 black businesses there. It's free to register, free to come out. So anybody in the area want to fly in or come in town, please come out and check it out. You know, I'm working directly with the president, Charles DeBoe and Ken Harris, which have formed an alliance. This has been going on since Booker T. Washington. So it's the 124th, year conference. So it's real strong brothers and a lot of stuff moving. So we doing it. We just got to get a little bit more time under our belt because the demographics are going to shift. I think the age is 13 right now. When those people become an adult, this country will no longer be majority white, which is why they're panicking. Because when it's no longer majority white, that's going to change the complexion of our corporations, our government, everything. So we need to be working on the ground, planting what we can to offset that.
Go ahead, Bree. I hear you. Bree, go ahead.
Okay. My headphones on. I kind of just wanted to say that. I'm sorry, the thing kept going out. I kind of wanted to just talk more in depth about the fact that while it's beautiful to be hopeful, we do need to have a sense of optimism when it comes to being a person of color, period, but specifically Black men and women. But I think there's also a part of reality that needs to be kind of brought. A huge reason why I think there's so much separation within our communities is education based. I was on a live yesterday where a Black man had said out his mouth, his own words, that he didn't think slavery should be taught in schools. Yeah. And so I think that it's really great to talk about all these things that maybe we're doing on an individual level. Like, I think it's amazing when you're doing individual advocacy, but at the end of the day, if the community as a whole isn't constantly pushing forward these ideas and making these movements and actually taking action, because I feel like we also love to talk about the things we're going to do, but the reason why, even when, and he's right, they will be a minority at some point. But the reality is there was a time when there was tons and tons and tons of us out here and they were still in power and control, because it's not just about doing things on individual or small levels. We need to start really attacking these systems that are in place that have been around. And until we can start to do that, we're always going to be kind of playing a game of catch up. And I think it hurts to say it, because obviously there is tons of successful Black men, Black women, Black people all over. But unfortunately, too often, we end up kind of still, it's like I see this too often where people who get money, they get access, they get closer to what they consider to be power, which is also associated with being connected with whiteness historically. They get lost. Their changes, their goals and their aspirations for the community change altogether once someone has a little bit of money in their pocket. That can't happen. We have to be on a communal level all the way around. And unfortunately, living in a westernized community or westernized country, community is not something that's pushed here. Historically, it's not been pushed here. Over the years, they've been slowly but surely trying to make sure that we can see ourselves as less as a community, and that we as people, just people in color in general, they aim to separate us. The power that we would have as not just Black people, but even Hispanic, Latinx, Asians, Indians, all people of color coming together without the mindset of trying to be richer, hustle culture, capitalism, trying to get more things. The power that we would have if we started making more communal decisions instead of individualistic decisions, that would be it would completely change the world, honestly. And I think that unfortunately, we're still not there yet. We are so deeply embedded in a system that says, go buy the newest iPhone, even though you know where the batteries are coming from. You know where the things that make them are coming from. Like, it is dangerous to them, not that they're going to be less of us, because in their mindset, they've created this system years over years that literally has told us to stay separated, even within our own community, that when you get some money, you don't need to worry about what's below you because you're hustling. You pulled yourself up by the bootstraps. They have built a system that is so deeply ingrained that, like I said, you have people out here saying they won't vote. Black men who said, I ain't voting for no Black bitch. Heard that today too. So it's like, when you instill these systems that are so deeply ingrained historically in misogyny, racism, it's hard to pull yourself out of that if you're not attacking the system. And like I started off saying, this all kind of traces back to education. We don't even teach young Black people aren't even aware of all the things that have happened in slavery, all the things that Black people are capable of, have been through, have the resilience to overcome. There is times when I've been in a school sub-teaching, asking questions, and they can't even name me 5 civil rights leaders. They can't even name me people who participated in the civil rights movement or any kind of movement that was for the advancement of their own community. And it's not just with the Black community, it's other communities as well. But until we start to better educate people, truly educate them, not only on what it is to be a member of this community,
being a person of color, but also the ways to strengthen their wealth, strengthen their knowledge. There's no reason why we shouldn't be having financial programs. If you're someone who works in finance, or you're someone who works in healthcare, or you're someone who works in any of those tech, then you should be giving back to your community by teaching kids, by mentoring, by opening some kind of program. Otherwise, we are going to be stuck. We will be permanently stuck. And we'll just be talking in circles about all these things that need to happen, but they're not going to happen until we actually start to pour ourselves into, instead of giving a great job and moving out of it, just moving and just leaving. Even if we were to go to a different country and start a whole new place, we be carrying this westernized mindset. So until we can make a communal mindset, we can't really go anywhere else, and we really can't make the change we want to make. That's all.
All right, so we're gonna go into closing remarks. Problem.
Fuck these people. Learn how to separate. Like, seriously, I think like people should really start looking at the mindset of what it means to separate. Because I think we have this mindset of, you know, we need to interact with them on a societal level. And I think that can exist, right? But like, clearly Mexico exists as a country, right? You know, Ireland still has its own country, but there are Irish people here in America, right? So I think when you hear people talk about the idea of separating, I often hear Black folks get scared, like as if they'll never be able to see white people again. I'm like, calm down, okay? Like, you're not leaving to a different planet. It's just the idea of no longer being under America's thumb. Something to think about, because I get tired of having these conversations. They're exhausting, they're depressing, they are fucking draining on every level, and I get tired of it. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
Hey, can you unpack that thought for me though? Like, what does that mean, and what does that like actually look like practically? Because you know, just like you, I'm tired of hearing people with all of these grand ideas without a plan. Man, I'm not saying you have to have it all fleshed out, but you know, even on a high level, can you unpack what that would look like to you?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. You need my friend again.
Both of y'all are the echo.
Yeah, I'm not sure who has the echo. I'm not sure if it's me. Separating, just without obviously getting into a long thing, it can look like several different things, right? It can absolutely look like relocating. It can absolutely look like organizing, you know, small Black-owned communities. Like if you've ever looked, there are literal cities or abandoned ghost towns for sale for anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million, right? So on a level where people keep talking about organizing, yeah, I've seen fundraisers for women who fucking glue their hair to their head, raise, I don't know, insane amounts of money. So if people are really, really about that, these GoFundMes could be raised for a couple $1 million. You could buy a small town and start building up your own infrastructure within these small towns and communities. Because when I say separate, I mean, as long as they govern, as long as they educate, as long as they control the criminal systems, as long as they control systems, we're always going to face this. So yes, even if you start at a small level, like something I just mentioned, or even if you're looking at completely going back to other, you know, continents and countries, when I say separate, yeah, you're not going to get what you're looking for in this lifetime as long as you work and operate within this system.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think that's also I kind of expressed the whole thing about, you know, if the system's still in place, it doesn't matter where you go, especially because the system is now placed a mindset. So while there's many Black people who are willing to relocate, who are willing to go, who are willing to advance themselves, who are willing to go back to the community, there's also those who won't, right? They who feel the same way or share similar emotions or feelings to that of the oppressor, of the colonizer. And so, you know, like I said, we're not educating, if we're not teaching, we're not making sure this thing doesn't keep repeating itself, no matter where someone separates themselves to. I mean, there's tons of expats and immigrants who go and they go to another country. Portugal's a great one. Costa Rica's a great one. There's different places all throughout South America where Black people can go and live safely and be okay. But if we're not out of that mindset, we're literally just taking that mindset to a different location.
I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. No, I wasn't talking about weaves. I was making a ridiculous example because I don't know if y'all remember, there was a couple years ago, there was a woman who, instead of using hairspray, she used Gorilla Glue, and she glued her hair to her fucking head and ran a fundraiser for her medical bills. And she raised an insane amount of money. And that's not a knock on women. I was just giving an example of the goofy shit that we are able to raise money for. So that wasn't aimed specifically at women. It's just in general. I can show you a bunch of different GoFundMes that have been fucking ridiculous, but have been highly successful. And so if they're highly successful at goofy shit, I'm saying, if people really want this change, donate $5 or $10. I mean, there's literally millions and millions of people on this app every day who see a video like this and claim they want change. And if millions of people literally donate $1, you've got $1 million or more dollars that can be put into buying like I said, a small town. You own property. Each small town needs their own sheriff, right? That's something that that who's going to have control over how that place gets policed and governed? We would, whoever purchases it, right? Now, obviously, you would still be subject to certain state laws, but who's going to enforce that if you're not doing anything crazy in that small town, right?
Okay. Go ahead. God damn it, what's your name again? Nick? No. Well, Reed, go ahead, go ahead. Get your last words in. Reed.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I kind of see where you're going with it. Do you have any examples of what that would look like outside of like packing up and relocating? And I assume you're talking about relocating to another place here in the United States, right?
Yeah, well, he just gave an
Yeah, if you're looking for specific examples of communities that have done it successfully, I will find them. I've seen it. My friend sent me some articles. We've seen people who did exactly that. It was a group of about 15 or 20 people who were able to pool their money together and purchase a small town and run it like a new settlement, essentially. So it has been successful in small sections. And what that would look like in practice would obviously potentially be having several small settlements potentially either connect with each other or get back to, small town living. I think obviously, like, and this sounds like kind of like what part of what Bree was talking about. We've kind of conditioned ourselves to think of our society only operating in this Americanized view of things, which is often defined by capitalism, the big city living, fast car. We've trained ourselves to believe that's what existing looks like. And it doesn't have to, right? And so, there are examples. You can look it up or contact me. I'll try to find the articles for you that have shown how small groups have kind of, found these empty plots of land that are huge so that they could do their own farming. They build up their own infrastructure, and essentially it is a small homestead, for lack of a better term, that is a Black community within itself.
Go ahead, Mr. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate it. And problematic, definitely, man. If you could message me, I love to share my contact information with you, and just share with you what's going on, what we're doing, and see if it might be some synergy there. Because I could think we kind of kindred spirits in a way that we, think about moving things forward. Just to piggyback off of what you said, and just kind of giving some practical applications of that. I did a small city mayor's tour where I went around the different, smaller city mayors because no one's knocking on their door. And there's a thing that I found out through working with some of the developers in the city that I wasn't privy to, even being in lending, and that's a thing called an option on land, right? So there's land and buildings in cities, and I just wanted to share this with the group, that those politicians in that small city, a lot of those mayors are volunteers in small cities, even. They don't even have a regular salary. They just want a photo op in front of a new development or something there. So they will actually give you that land for either the taxes on credit, meaning that they'll let you develop the land, they'll let you develop that building on credit and then pay them later, and it's called an option. So you can ask for what incentives and what options the city has, and a lot of times that land is just sitting there undeveloped for 50 years, right? Nobody has touched it, and they're willing to give it up because that helps them get reelected, right? The other thing I would share, once you get a plot of land, which you could buy for for a couple $100 in some places, you can do what I call the poor man's way to development, right? And that is just getting some land, building one home, or two homes on the land, right? As model homes. You can get realtors to show those homes to people that are pre-approved, that have pre-approvals, right? To build. By the time you build 6 or 7 homes, you are now close. You depending on the the scale and the level of the homes, you might have your home free and clear, already. And if you put a gate in the front of that community, guess what? The police have to have a warrant to even come into that community because there's a gate on the front of that community. Also, with tech, and I'm just rolling through some solutions now. With tech, I'm working with one of my mentors. His name is Dr. Terrence Dillard. He's with the FBI InfoGuard, teaches at several universities. We have online schools where we're teaching stuff like cybersecurity certifications, where a person could, get it in less than 6 months to a year, get that certification, either start their own business and make $150 a year from it, or get a job at 70%, 70K rather, or higher without even having a college education or anything like that. And we're also doing online classes where certified teachers actually teach our kids if they want to be homeschooled, right? But the parents don't, have the wherewithal to do it. That we can actually teach our own kids in that. We're doing clinics the same way, where it's online telemeds because Black people have better results when they go to Black doctors. So, I work with a Black pharmacy that I helped to plant. Her name is Dr. Sakaya. I work with a Black lab, Dr. Montgomery, and I could name some other names, but we have the clinic, the pharmacy, and all of that stuff to where we're supplying our people these medical service and even mental health care. My wife has a mental health care practice. We're doing all of that stuff ourselves, but a lot of this stuff takes place online right now because it's low cost, and we can actually start providing those pathways and use those money to build those communities, because I truly believe exactly what Problematic said. We need an exodus out of these communities. 90% of us was rural. We went in those communities to be cheap labor for those factories. As a backlash after the civil rights, nobody talks about it, but they moved the factories out of all these major cities that they baited us into work at. And we've been living in poverty and with terrible education and everything ever since. If you look at when those communities did have good schools, and when they had security and a better look, is when the factories were there. As soon as the factories left and there were no more jobs, it's never been good. And so I believe that even though it's a lifeboat approach, we need to migrate slowly to more rural areas that when you build a house there, it's actually worth something. Because we cannot force them to, offset redlining. And I'll just end by saying this. I spoke at a race conference where they were asking me to speak about what Dan Gilbert was doing in the city of Detroit. He's the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers and Rocket and Quicken Mortgage, because he was forcing a whole bunch of Black seniors out of their homes, right? By buying up these neighborhoods and the taxes going up. And there was a lot of people protesting them that. And they all got mad at me because what I said to them is that if he's getting all these homes to where he's buying 30, but rehabbing 10, and all boats rise where they're all worth $300,000 because an appraisal is what somebody pays for a home. So he'll renovate them, overpay for them, and then all boats will rise. Where now these homes, these group of 30 homes, are worth $60 million. They benefit off of our pain and our poverty. So unless they had $60 million to replace and put in Dan Gilbert's pockets, this wasn't the first city he crushed black homeowners, right? And he knows that all he has to do is create a $5 million fund of loans that we have to pay him back. And now he's a hero again, right? And I'm not saying don't protest, don't do all of that. If that's your calling and that's what you feel like you should be doing, please go march, protest, do all of that. But I'm saying we have to understand that this country is based upon black cheap labor and other cheap labor. And anytime we say we don't want to get paid less or be the next generation Walmart worker, they don't want their kids to be that either. And we need to have our own models, because what we're literally asking them is to take away your income base. We pay more for healthcare than any other race. We work more hours, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, than any other race. We pay more for insurance, for cars, for utility bills, for everything. So they love for us to get sick, because we're the ones on all the pills when we go to the hospital dying of chronic diseases. They love for us to have bad credit so they can charge us the high interest rates at the buy here, pay here furniture stores and car lots and the payday loan places and all of that. If you look at where all of the poor places are, the poor black cities, that's when you get an economic boom in New York and Philly and all the rest of those places. We are living in plantation cities, profiting them. And the only way that's going to change is if we band together and start having core businesses that we could support. So anyway, that's a lot, but I appreciate this conversation, and this is my first time on one of these things tonight, so
Oh, really?
I appreciate it. Yeah,
This is the first one you had?
yeah, man. I know I don't get on lives and do none of this stuff. I'm more of like on the ground doing the work. But as I scanned through, I was refreshed because most of this stuff was just talking about politics. And so I figured I'd jump on and chat for a minute. But I appreciate you, brother.
No, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for having this conversation. Probably go live tomorrow. We don't know yet, but I appreciate y'all. I am finna go ahead and end it. Problem, you have a good night. Reed, you have a good night. Sister Bree, you have a good night. And
Appreciate you, bro.
And Mr. Kino, you have a good night. Y'all stay safe out there.
You too, man.
Yes, sir. All right, YouTube, man. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. Y'all have a good one.